But that being said, you guys won't be on camera or anything. I just wanted to make you aware that we're going to tape it. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Emily Kramer. I do the training here at the Legislature, and I also do chamber support in the House of Representatives during session. There is someone that does the same thing in the Senate. So no matter which chamber you're in, you will have help the whole time that you are there. We are there from the time you gavel in until the time you gavel out. So there will always be someone there. Generally, we used to be stationed in the back of the chamber, but with COVID concerns and limiting the amount of people, we're now going to be in the copy center in the rotunda in between the two chambers on the second floor. But again, we're there the whole time from the time you gavel in till the time you gavel out, so you can always get some help. I sent around all the handouts that are going to go over some of the tools that we're going to discuss on the website today. In the top right-hand corner of each handout is the help desk phone number and email address. So if you have any questions, concerns, you can always shoot us an email or give us a call. The other thing to point out is right now we close at 4:30 on the weekdays, but during session we do have someone that takes the help desk phone with them over the weekend as well as each night. So even if you have a question after hours, feel free to give us a call or shoot us an email, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Today we're going to go over the legislative website. I'm going to focus on the tools that I think will be most useful to you. It's a very large website, as you will see, and there's a lot of information to cover. Do I expect you to leave this training and know the website front and back? Absolutely not. There's just no way. I train it, and I am frequently surprised by the changes that we make on a very frequent basis. So that being said, I am going to point out, like I said, the ones that I think are going to be most useful to you and are going to help you do your job best. If you have a question on something I'm not covering, or you want me to slow down or repeat something, please don't hesitate to stop me. Like I said, I've muted you guys all on entry, but you can unmute yourself if you need to ask a question, or you can always type it in the chat window and it'll pop up for me and I can answer that at that point as well. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So if you're using the legislative web computer that we give you, you'll be using Google Chrome as your browser. Google Chrome is the recommended browser for our website. That's where we do all of our testing and most of our development as well. So if you're using your legislative machine, you just have to come down here to the bottom and click on the little Google Chrome icon, which looks like a little beach ball. The home page will be set for you to the legislative home page, again, if you're using our computer. If not, the web address is www.legis.iowa.gov, and that's written all over your handout, so don't feel like you need to write that down. I want to show you what it's going to look like during session, so I'm going to show you what it looks like in test right now. Right now, our website looks like this. The main area contains our popular links, popular publications, and then our interim committee schedule here. Once session begins, and I think we're going to actually flip it this evening, so it should be either tomorrow or Saturday, the home page will change and we'll have this layout, which is going to show all of the House and Senate chamber action right on the home page. So a couple of things to point out on our main website. Up in the black, there are some tools that you can use if you are unfamiliar with the website. The first is the FAQ, or frequently asked questions. If you click on that, what we've done is we have organized all of the questions into these categories, and the categories that we've used mirror the tabs that go along the top of our website. So depending on the question, you can pull any of these up by simply clicking on the question. So here's the first one, probably the one we get asked most. When does the legislative session convene? Clicking on any one of these questions will pull up the answer. For that, we'll give you the location on the website, so tell you to click the Senate and House tab, and then under the session calendars heading, click the session timetable link. There's usually also a link for the section of the website that we're talking about. You can simply click on the link to be taken right to that page on our website. So a good place to look if you're not sure where to find something, and again, that's our FAQs. It's in the top black area. Throughout our website, you're going to see little play icons. They look like YouTube icons because they are YouTube icons. And the play icons will launch a brief video tutorial of whatever it is next to. So for example, clicking this one is going to give you a video tutorial of using the FAQ and sitemap section of the website. We do try to put those throughout the website and again next to the tool that it pertains to. Anytime you want to go back to our home page, you can simply come up here and click on the picture of the Capitol in the upper left, and it will return you to our home page. Also, there is a home link up here in the black. Doesn't display on all pages though, so that's why I've gotten used to just using the upper left-hand corner to navigate back to the home page if needed. The next one along the top is our video tutorials. Again, I already pointed out that there's going to be play icons throughout the website if there are associated video tutorial content to what you're looking at. However, we went ahead and just posted all of the video tutorials right here for easy access. Most of them are 5 to 8 minutes. The one on subscriptions and bills rules watch is a little bit longer. I believe that one's a little over 18 minutes. But for the most part, they're pretty brief. You can click on any one of these at any time. These are all, of course, for the public as well, because our website is used by the public and not everyone knows how to use various tools. This was our way of kind of trying to guide people into finding what they need and how to use the tools on our site. Clicking on the home page again to return back to the main page. The last thing you'll see up here in the upper right is a search. This search is context sensitive. So what do I mean by that? I mean it will narrow down your search results based on your location on the website. So right now I'm on the home page, so it's going to search all publications. If I click on the drop down here, I have the option to search the entire site as well. So you'll choose what you want to search, enter a term. I'm going to just choose enrolled here and hit enter or go on your keyboard, and it's going to launch a Google search of our website. Skip over the ones in the boxes, those are ads, but if you scroll down, this will take you to some of the pages on our website that contain that particular keyword. It's context sensitive because the search will change based on your location on the website. So for example, if I am on the legislation tab, you see how the search now changes to show just legislation. And this is our way of just narrowing down the amount of search results you get, so you don't have to go through, 1,000 search results for your query. Again, you can always click on the drop-down. Publications and sites are available on every page, but again, it's going to limit your search based on your location on the website. So again, if I'm on the committees tab, for example, it's going to show that I'm just going to search committees here. So that's a real quick search that you can use. Again, on the home page, the other thing you'll notice is over here along the left, we have some quick finds, and these allow you to quickly access bills, code sections, and Iowa acts for the current GA right from the home page. We are starting a new GA this year, so on Monday, all of the bill numbers will start over. So you won't be able to type in some of these bigger bill numbers. It's not going to let you type in a bill that does not exist for the current session. So again, Monday we start introducing bills, and at that point you can come in and start typing in bill numbers, and then you'll be able to pull up those bills in our bill book application. But as we haven't flipped the site yet, I'm just going to go ahead and type in a bill number. Now underneath, or I should say the first time when you see it, they have little ghosted EGs in each one of these fields, and that just shows the format that you should use to enter in your search term. So for example, SF123 would be Senate File 123. An S followed by a number would be a Senate amendment. An H followed by a number would be House amendment, etc. All of the abbreviations are going to become second nature to you before long, but this works not just for House and Senate files or bills. This works for, again, amendments, resolutions, as well as any study bills will work as well. So as long as you know the abbreviation, I'm just going to go ahead and type SF510. Now it does say to type in uppercase and put a space in between the letters and the number. I'm not going to do that. It's pretty intuitive in picking up what the bill should be. So I'm going to go ahead and just type SF510. You can either hit the magnifying glass icon here or enter on your keyboard, and it will pull up the most current version of that bill for the current session. And we'll talk a little bit more about Bill Book as we get into this portion. But a real quick, easy way to navigate to current bills right from the home page. These will open up in a new tab. So I'm going to go ahead and just close these tabs so I can go back to my main page here. You'll notice that there's a little toggle here. By default, it's set to show bill number, but a lot of times, especially public members, don't know the bill number, but they may know a keyword or the subject matter of the bill. So in that case, what you can do is click on the keyword tab at the top and enter in a search term. I'm just going to type in the word safety. Type in your word or words. It can be a phrase. Again, click the magnifying glass or enter on your keyboard, and it will pull up search results for that particular keyword. It will limit your search results again to current legislation. It'll also show you how many results have been found. So in this case, there's 1,328 pieces of legislation from this GA that deal with that particular topic. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about how you can narrow your searches when we get to that point. But this is, again, just a real quick, easy way to get to content on our website. And again, I did that by just clicking either the number, which is the default, or the keyword, entering my search term, and then clicking the magnifying glass or enter on my keyboard. Again, you have little play icons next to each one of these quick searches. This will launch exactly what I've just told you, a brief introduction of using the tool, how it works, and you can always point that out to constituents as well if they have questions. The next one down is code sections. And again, you see that EG that gives you the format to use. So I'm just going to use the example given, which is 7E.1. Type that into the field, hit enter on your keyboard or the magnifying glass, and again, it pops up a nice printer-friendly version of the most recent version of that code section. So all of these are going to be for current information except for the acts. So if you need to search for previous legislation or codes, you don't want to do it from the home page. This is for current information only. And again, current is based on General Assembly. Each General Assembly lasts 2 years. We are starting a new General Assembly this year, so it will be all bills in this session, and along into next session will be considered current. And that's what you can use these quick searches for. The next one allows you to choose your GA. So for Iowa Acts, you have a drop-down here where you can choose your General Assembly number, and the year is in parentheses. Choose the one you like here, enter in your chapter. Again, I chose a chapter that does not exist. This is what will happen if you do so. It'll pop up and say the requested document cannot be found. It's not going to let you look up a chapter that does not exist. So I'm going to go ahead and just type 1, hit the magnifying glass again, and again, it's going to pull up a nice printer-friendly version of that Act section for me on our website. Again, it opens up in a new tab here, so you're not navigating away from the home page. I'm just going to go ahead and close that tab, and now I'm back on my home page again. So those are your quick finds. You'll see these a lot throughout our website, and again, that's just in an effort to make it easier to find particular things that you're looking for quickly. Scroll down to the bottom of our website. There is an area in black down here, and this bar will follow you throughout our website. Some additional information to point out here. The first is the webmaster address. Now, I've already given you guys the help desk address. This is just another place that people can write in if they have questions, comments, concerns. We get a lot of suggestions in the webmaster account if they say, it would be really helpful for me if you could put this content out here, organize it differently. We do read all those suggestions. We do take them into account, and a lot of our functionality on the website is based on feedback from users. So if you have suggestions or something like that, please don't hesitate. Feel free to use this address. You can use the help address as well. It's up to you. But that's out there for easy access. Again, since the public doesn't have the help desk email, this is a place where they can write in and get their questions answered. Also, the help desk phone number is right down here at the bottom. So if you lose your pages or you can't remember the help desk phone number, it's always right down here in the black in the lower left-hand corner of our website. And then this next section over here contains some additional links to additional content. The first is the intranet. That is the internal portion of our website. You're not going to see the link for this unless you are signed in at the Capitol or using a VPN or Citrix connection. When you're here at the Capitol, you will see that link. If you are at home right now and you're not VPN'd in, you are not seeing this link. That is by design. It's not that we're hiding anything, it's just that there's some information out there that's not official yet. An example of that would be committee draft minutes. The committee minutes are never approved until the following meeting, at which point then we can publish them. But there's what's called a draft right after the initial meeting, and sometimes internal staff as well as committee members want to be able to view that. So again, this is just for internal staff. Not that we're hiding anything, it's just that there's some tools out here, some additional information that we don't want to release to the public because it's not official. We'll come back to that here at the end of class and finish up with the intranet. The next one I want to talk about is the sitemap. Another good place to come if you're not familiar with our website, what we've done is we've just broken apart all of these tabs along the top into boxes. And in each one of these boxes, we've just listed the links contained on each one of these tabs. So as you'll see as I go through the website, there are tabs and sub-tabs. This is just in an effort to make everything one click away. So all of the links that you can find on this tab will be accessible in this box here. But the other reason I really like to use the sitemap is for the find feature. If you hold down your control key and click the S key on your keyboard, you can go ahead and again type in a word like enrolled, for example. And as you can see, it will go ahead and highlight in the sitemap any instance of that word, so you can quickly click on the link and be taken right to that page on our website. So again, just in an effort to make it easier to find the things that you need. I use the sitemap kind of frequently if it's a link that I'm not used to using often. And again, if you just hold down control and hit F, you get this little search box up here. And that's pretty consistent across all websites. There is also on the sitemap a directory here, and this contains a lot of contact information for House and Senate staff, for LSA employees, etc. All you have to do is click on the one that you want. So for example, if you're looking for myself, I work in the Computer Services Division of LSA, so I would click on that, and it would pull up and give all the contact information for those people, in this case just phone numbers. So that is available for you as well. I'll show you another one on the intranet that actually gives you everything, but all of these are out here. The ones that don't work right now, well, that just aren't updated right now, are the seating charts. Again, I'll show you on the intranet where you can access those as well, but as we haven't chosen our seats yet, we choose those on the first day of session. This will update and be up to date for the next General Assembly, probably the next day, so Tuesday of next week. You'll be able to click on this and see the current seating chart. That's your sitemap. The next one over is careers. Not going to spend a lot of time here. You guys all have jobs here. That's why you're at training. But this is where you can come and apply for clerking or as a page or for various LSA positions if you are interested at a later time. Contacts. This is another one that you can click if you have questions about who to contact for various issues. The first thing you'll see here is the Capitol mailing address. If you ever tried to Google how to get to the Capitol or use a MapQuest or something like that, it's very difficult. It just says Capitol, Des Moines, Iowa, 503-19. It doesn't actually give you the street address. So constituents still do write into legislators via snail mail, so we go ahead and post the mailing address out here for easy access. So you can use this to give to constituents if they ask where they can write you. The first thing that you'll see is legislative contacts. You'll notice that the website operates on what's called a tab sub-tab basis. So I clicked on the contacts. It's going to take me to legislative contacts. But I have these additional options over here along the left to get to various other contacts. Again, there's a play icon here, and this is just going to launch a brief tutorial about what the legislative contacts will tell you, but I'm going to do that for you now. Basically, it lists a question or a contact person. It's going to give you the person or group to contact. It'll give you their phone number. If there's an email address associated with that group or person, that will be listed here. And then if there's a web page that talks about that group or person, you'll be able to click the link for that to take you to that page on our website. So this is a good place to look if you're unsure about who to talk to for an issue. All of these legislative contacts are here for your use. The next one over is links to legislator web pages. Now, these are all pages that the legislators themselves have created and maintained. Our website is completely nonpartisan, so anything that we post that is party affiliated or campaigning, we're going to go ahead and link to off of our site as opposed to posting it on our site. This is an option for legislators. They don't have to do this, so that's why it looks like some Senate members have taken advantage of this. There's no House members that wanted this. If your legislator wants to add their personal web address to this page, they can talk to either Maureen in the Senate or Michelle or Megan in the House, and we can get those links added for you. But again, these are just links to personal web pages maintained by either the senator or the representative. Clicking on one of these links will take you to a message that looks like this, basically what I've just explained. If you're leaving our state-supported website, all of the content and opinions expressed on the following pages are those of the page owner and not of the Iowa General Assembly. Just some legal jargon that we have to put out there saying we're not responsible for the content of the page you're about to visit. All you have to do is just click the Click Here link, and then you'll be taken to that particular page, whichever you chose. If you had questions or concerns about this page, you'd want to get in touch with Senator Chapman or his staff to talk about those. The next one over along the left is related sites, and these are really just posted out here for easy access. Real quick link to the executive branch website, the judicial branch, the state library, the law library, etc. Of course, you could run a Google search and find these as well. This is just our way of kind of making it more easily accessible. There's another one on here called Other State Legislature Websites. This one would allow you to choose a state and be taken right to that legislative website as well. And then lastly, we have the federal government down here. We have all of our Iowa members of Congress at the federal level. Again, clicking on any one of their links would take you to their personal web page, and you'd get that little message again saying you're leaving our state-supported website. This will flip over when the new representatives are sworn in. So right now we're in a kind of holding pattern for a lot of this. Since the new session hasn't started till Monday for us, we don't flip the page until then and put the new representative-elects on the website at that time. And the same goes for Iowa members of Congress. So once session begins for them again and the new members are sworn in, you'll see that this content will update and show you your new representatives and senators. There's also links here to the United States Senate website, the U.S. House of Representatives website, the White House, etc. So all of these are out here, again, just for easy access. If you want to take advantage, please do so. That's contacts. The next one over is applications. And this is where you're going to sign in to access all of our internal applications on our website. This is where you're going to sign in to access the bill management system, committee forum system if you're a ranking member, vice chair, or chair clerk. And this is the same username and password that you're going to use to sign in to the computer each day. So you and your legislator are sharing an account. You're going to use their username and password. The username will be first name dot last name. Or if your legislator joined before 2009, it'll be the first letter of their first name and the first 6 letters of their last all run together. So the username is not their email. Just want to make that clear. It's the first name dot last name is the username. And then you'd enter your password, say login, and you would be able to access all of the internal portions of our website. You already have an account, so there would be no need for you to create an account unless you wanted to create a personal account for yourself as the clerk. Otherwise, you'll sign in with your legislator's credentials here. You'll also notice at the bottom, if you have questions or problems signing in, there's that help desk phone number again that you can quickly see if you need help. That's applications. We'll come back and talk about each one of those here in a bit. Subscribe. This is where people, and this is open to anyone in the public, can come in and subscribe to various content via email. Now, you guys, as legislators and clerks, will already be subscribed to all of the content that you need for the committees that your legislator is on, for the legislation that your legislator is sponsoring, etc. So this is only if you want to subscribe to additional things. For example, a committee that your legislator is not on, or a specific topic or a specific bill that you're not the sponsor of. This is where you can come to do that. This is also a great place to direct constituents to do that. Because a lot of times they'll just be writing you and asking for updates on bills. It's a great idea for them to come in and just create a rule to watch the bill, and then anytime something happens on the bill, they'll get an email alert to notify them of that without having to come and check the website constantly. Again, there's a play icon up here. This will launch a little video tutorial on both the subscription section and on our Bills and Rules Watch application, which we'll talk about here a little bit more in depth later. But all of them are pretty similar. As you can see, you have all of these sublinks over here along the left, and these sublinks mirror some of the ones in the main pane here. There's an administrative rule changes option. This is mostly for if you're interested in Iowa administrative code information. You can subscribe to an agency or agencies, and most of them function the same way. So what you'll do is you'll simply check on the boxes next to the ones that you want to receive. Scroll down to the bottom, enter in the email address where you want these alerts to go, check the box to say you're not a robot, and hit the subscribe button. At that point, you're not actually subscribed to the list. What it's going to do is send you an email with a link to confirm the subscription. The reason for that is because anybody could come in here and type in any email address and start signing people up for content they don't want. So this is our way of verifying that this is content that you want. Once you click that link, your subscription is confirmed, and from that point on, you'll continue to receive updates on whatever you've subscribed to. I'm going to go ahead and sign into the website so I can show you a little trick here. If you go to Applications again and sign into our website, again with your legislator's username and password, you'll be able to tell that you're signed in because your name will appear up here in black, your legislator's name, and you'll also unlock some additional content on our site. So now if I go to the subscribe page, for example, and I click on Administrative Rule Changes, I don't think I've actually subscribed to any of those, so I'm going to click on Committee Subscriptions. Or actually, maybe it was Legislative Subscriptions. Apologies. I haven't subscribed to all of these, and I change my subscriptions every training. So again, what you'll do is check the boxes next to the ones you want, but because I'm already signed in, these boxes will be checked, and this denotes that I've already subscribed to these. So if you're unsure of what you've subscribed to, you can always sign into the website, click on these, and then the ones that you're subscribed to will be checked for you. And you don't have to go through the whole confirming your subscription process. So for example, if I wanted to remove my subscription from this, I could simply uncheck the box, and it will pop up and say, your unsubscribe request has been received, you've been removed from the list. So now I'm no longer subscribed. And vice versa, if I were to subscribe to this content, instead of having to verify I'm not a robot and click the confirm link, I just get a little message saying that your subscription request has been received and processed. You should start receiving the items you subscribed to. No further action is required. So when you sign in, you kind of skip that additional step. But obviously, members of the public don't have this option. I just pointed out to you guys to make it a little easier for you. The general public won't be able to do this. Actually, they will be if they have an account and they sign in. So disregard that. We changed it. So again, all of these are great options to subscribe to. This is going to be additional content. Again, you're already subscribed to receive the content that you need. But one I did want to point out here, and it's over along the left. I'm just going to go ahead and sign out here so I can show you how to get to this. Again, I'm going to click my subscribe link. There's one over here along the left, and also the third one down on the page, called Capital Notification System. And this is where legislators and yourselves can sign up to receive alerts for various legislative emails that go out. So what I mean by that, and I'm not going to see the same ones you will, depending on your rights in the system. When you sign in, you'll see some different options here. I only have the emergency alert option. You guys will actually have options here to subscribe to caucus emails. So for example, when the House Democrats say they're going to caucus, they will send an email out through the system, and if you enter in your email and or your phone number, you'll receive an alert at that email or a text at the phone number letting you know that they're caucusing. So this can come in really handy, especially if your legislators away from the chamber and they start to go to caucus. It's nice of them to be able to get an alert anywhere in the Capitol, and then they can go to the caucus room here. So what you'll do is, again, you'll enter either your email address or your phone or both. You'll click subscribe, and then down here at the bottom, you'll be able to see what you are subscribed to. And you can always make changes or remove these as you see fit whenever you like. Back on the subscribe page, a couple of other things to point out. There are committee subscriptions. Again, you guys are already subscribed to the committees that your legislator is on, but if you wanted to subscribe to additional committees, you could do so by clicking the check boxes here and following the same process. There's also department subscriptions. Departments do go ahead and submit various bill requests and code changes. So if you're interested in that, you can go ahead and, again, choose the department that you want. And then since I'm already signed in, I don't have to sign in at the bottom. It's just going to know that I need to subscribe or unsubscribe when I check these boxes here. Legislative subscriptions is another one. There is various content that the Legislative Services Agency puts out, as well as chamber staff, throughout session and after session. So for example, daily debate calendars, session daily. You guys are already going to receive the Senate and House daily debate calendars depending on your chamber. But again, this is just if you want to subscribe to other publications, you can do so here. And then lastly, there's this reports required to be filed with the General Assembly. They do have to submit reports to us on a yearly basis, some of these departments. So if you check the box to subscribe to that department, when they file a report on our website, you would get an email notification of that. I would say probably the ones that you guys will be most interested in is the Bills and Rules Watch, the Capital Notification System, and probably the committee subscriptions and legislative subscriptions. Most of the others are designed for other members of government like the executive branch, but that's not to say that you can't subscribe to that content as well. There's an RSS feed. People are kind of going away from that, so that'll probably be going away soon. And then there's also an option here to follow us on Twitter. So if you're a Twitter user, it gives you our Twitter handle. And if you're not, it gives you some instructions about Twitter here and how you can sign up to subscribe to the Twitter feed. Again, you guys probably don't need to subscribe to the Twitter feed. You're going to be getting those updates in real time, but this is another great place to direct constituents to follow us on Twitter, and they'll get those updates in real time that way. And then there are pages on our website that I'll show you that also contain the Twitter feed. So even if you don't want to subscribe to it, I can show you where you can view the Twitter feed on our website. So that's your subscribe. I did want to talk about Bills and Rules Watch while we're here. This is a tool, and it's one of the handouts that I've given you that allows anyone, including members of the public, to come in here and create collections containing legislation, rulemaking, code sections, topics, or categories. And anytime something happens with one of those in your collection, it's going to shoot you an email and let you know about that. The first time you access the Bills and Rules Watch application, it's going to have a little walkthrough along the top here. It'll say step 1, step 2, step 3, and it will walk you through creating a collection and adding content to that collection. Now, I've already done this several times, so on subsequent visits, that tutorial at the top is removed for me. You can see I have several collections over here along the left. If you've never used the tool before, there will be no collections here. You need to create them. If you click on the question mark right here, this will open up, again, our written instructions, the ones I provided for you in electronic format. This will always be the most updated copy. If I make changes to the documentation, I will always republish it here, so this should always be current. And you can access that anytime using that question mark, or back on the subscriptions page. Whoops, click right here. It's also right here if you click on the PDF icon. Same thing, just two different ways of getting there. So the first thing you're going to want to do is create a collection. You'll click on the little plus sign here to create a new collection. Now, the only people that can access this information are you and your legislator, or you and your clerk, depending on your role. You have to sign in with your legislator's username and password to be able to access this. So feel free to do whatever you want in here if you want to type in tax bills or whatever. Something that's meaningful to you. It doesn't have to be something that's super official. So taxes 2021. Name it whatever you like. You can put in a description if you wish. Again, this is for your use, so if you want to do it, great. If not, you don't have to. But some people will type in something like, this collection contains legislation relating to taxes for the upcoming 89th General Assembly, or something like that, just so you know the kind of content that this collection contains. If you already know that without a description being typed, you don't need to enter one, of course. You'll click Save. At that point, you can see that the collection has been added down here, but it's a lot like creating a file folder. I've created the collection, but I haven't actually added any content to this collection yet. So that's what I'll show you how to do next. But first, I want to show you how to set some settings for your collection. Clicking on the gear icon after selecting your collection here will allow you to change your email notifications, both report frequency and the history action count here. So by default, you're going to get daily emails with yesterday's information. It's always going to be a final version, so when the legislative day ends, everything runs overnight. You'll get an email in the morning from yesterday's action. You can subscribe to receive this weekly, monthly, or no email notifications at all, and you can just come into the Bills and Rules Watch system to look for these. Again, this is completely up to you. By default, it's going to show you the last 3 actions on anything in your collection. You can change that to the last 5 actions or all actions, again, up to you. You can copy these same rules to another collection. You can lock this down, Lock mode is basically like it says here in the hover text, places the collection in read-only mode. So it's going to prevent any content from being added to your collection as a result of this. So a lot of people will lock this down if they have collections from a previous GA. As you know, bill numbers start over. So just because somebody was subscribed to Senate File 123 last year doesn't mean they want to receive it this year. We do go ahead and wipe out all of the bill number subscriptions because, again, bill numbers start over with each GA. So we know that you subscribed to the bill number last year doesn't mean you want it in the next GA. We will wipe those out. All of the other subscriptions will remain unless you elect to change them. And then there's also this trash can icon, which just allows you to delete the collection entirely. If you ever hit delete, there's always a little confirmation, so don't panic. If you accidentally hit a button, it is going to ask you to confirm before you actually delete a collection. And if you don't want to, you'd simply close or hit cancel. I'm going to go ahead and click the gear icon again to just collapse that section. Again, if you want to add or edit your description, you can do so here by clicking on the pencil icon or the save icon. The actions, this will actually generate your report in real time. So as I mentioned, all the processes usually run overnight, and if you're subscribed to get daily emails, you're going to get the final email for the next day. You'll get the final email the next day for the previous day's actions. What this does during session is we run that report every 2 hours. So if you wanted to see all of the action that happened on a given day, say you click this button at 2 p.m., it's going to give you all of the actions that have happened on the bills or whatever in your collection from that point on. So you'll see everything up until 2 p.m. You click it again at 4, maybe some additional actions will be added, maybe not. Again, it updates in real time during session. So that's a way you can generate kind of a real-time report instead of waiting for the next day. There's an export option here. If you want to export this content to Excel, you can do that. Again, you can also specify how many actions you want in that exportation by simply clicking that little icon there. And then lastly, this is where you can actually add content to your collections. So the first one is legislation. This is pretty straightforward. You can simply type in a bill number, hit add document along the right, and it will add this bill to your collection. Anytime I have, or anytime something happens to this bill, I'll then get an email alert of that. I will also be able to enter multiples. As you can see here, if you type in a bill number and separate bill numbers with a comma, you'll be able to add multiples at one time. There's also a little arrow here. So if you want to actually choose your bills from each one of these boxes, you'll be able to do so. Now, right now, we're still in the last week of the 88th General Assembly, so this contains 2 years' worth of legislation. Again, we're starting all over on Monday, so a lot of these boxes will be a lot more empty, but they will update in real time. So as more bills are introduced and resolutions happen, you'll see this list continue to grow. But what you can do here is simply hold down your control key and select as many of these as you like. As I said, you're not limited to just House and Senate files. You can subscribe to joint resolutions, concurrent resolutions, Senate resolutions, and also study bills here. By just selecting what you want, and if I come to the top here, you can see that it's gone ahead and just put in all of the bill numbers separated by a comma. I could say add document, and all of those bills would be added to my collection. I'm not going to do that because we're in the process of flipping everything over, so I'm probably going to get an error message. But on Monday, this will function exactly as intended. Now, as those of you that have been here before know, some of the bill numbers like to change throughout session. So what starts out as House File 20 may become House File 237 or Senate File 5 or what have you. Bill numbers change depending on when amendments are introduced and which version of the bill they adopt. So when you sign up to, for example, subscribe to Senate File 1, and Senate File 1 becomes Senate File 10, you're no longer going to be getting those updates because that's not the same bill number. What you can do to kind of get ahead of that is subscribe by the LSB number. The LSB number is a 4-digit source version of the bill. Where do you find this magic LSB number? Well, I'm going to show you. On our website, I'm just going to open up a bill just so I can show you where you can find this information. I'm going to type Senate File 510, open it up, And if I scroll down here under track versions, you'll see there's all of these different versions of the bill. So for example, Senate File 510 was related to House File 327. It was previously Senate Study Bill 1110 and was related to House Study Bill 5. They all contain this same 4-digit number. You don't have to worry about the suffixes here. Those are just for drafters. But you can use the 4-digit number, subscribe to the LSB number, and then even if the bill number changes going forward, it will have this same LSB number, so you will continue to be notified if something happens on those bills. And that's how I suggest that you do your subscription. It's just going to be easier. Now again, just to point out, this isn't something you have to do. You're already going to be subscribed to bills relating to your committees, bills relating to your legislator. This is if you want to subscribe to additional legislation that you're not already receiving updates for. So what you can do is either copy this or remember this number, 1512, come into the LSB number, I'm going to paste it in, say add rule, and now anytime a bill is introduced or comes out with that particular LSB number, I'll be notified. So if the bill number changes, I'll continue to get those updates. You can subscribe to content by sponsor. So if you want to subscribe to all of the bills that a particular legislator has sponsored, you can do so here. Anytime they sponsor a piece of legislation, you'll get an email alert of that. Senators are at the top. You have to scroll down to get to the representatives. They're in alphabetical, but it's by chamber. So if you want to get to a House member, you just have to scroll a little further down the list. Again, you're already signed up to receive all of the bills that your legislator is sponsoring. This is if you want to subscribe to a different legislator. You can subscribe to a committee. Again, you already get all of the ones for the committees that your legislator is a member of, but if you wanted to subscribe to a committee that your legislator is not a member of, this is how you can do that. And anytime a committee sponsors a bill or piece of legislation, I should say, you'll get an email alert about that. And lastly, you can do the same thing with a department. These are executive branch departments, or there's also a judicial branch option here. Anytime they ask to sponsor a piece of legislation, you'd get an email alert about that. Executive branch departments do submit bill requests to us just like you guys do. And then there's this to committee option. This will actually allow you to see all of the bills that have been assigned to the committee. So that's the difference between the two. This will show you all of the bills the committee has sponsored. This will show you all of the bills that have been assigned to this specific committee. And again, you just make your choice, say add rule, and that content would be added to your collection. And then lastly here, you have the ability to subscribe to an Iowa Code section. So if you have a particular piece of the Iowa Code that you're interested in, you can subscribe to it, and then anytime a piece of legislation will affect that code chapter or section, you'll get an email alert about that as well. And then lastly, if you know a drafter that you want to subscribe to, you can do so. I don't really see a need for you guys to do that. You're already going to be in touch with the drafters for your particular legislation. The next one is your rulemaking. You can subscribe to the Iowa Administrative Code here. You can subscribe to rulemaking documents as well. I'd say this is mostly for rule writers and executive branch members that are interested in the Iowa Administrative Code. That's not to say that you can't use it too. You would just check the boxes for the stuff that you want. Again, say add rule or enter in the ARC number and say add document to add that to your collection. But where the real power of this tool comes in is the topic and category options here. There was a project about, 4 years ago maybe now, that basically all of our drafters and all of our LSA staff created one large indexing taxonomy across all of our products. So now if somebody doesn't know, for example, the code section relating to the topic that they want or the bill number relating to the topic that they're interested in, they can come and just subscribe to a topic, and anything relating to that topic, be it a publication, be it a code section, be it an administrative code section or legislation, they're going to get email alerts for those. So it's a very powerful tool. As you can imagine, this is an extremely long list. So it is alphabetical. You can click on these letters along the left to navigate right to that section. There's also an ability here to do a type ahead. So for example, if you start typing what you're interested in, you can see that it will pop up some topics that it thinks I might be interested in based on what I've typed in this box here. So for example, if I was interested in education, I could choose that topic, say add rule, It's going to pop up a little dialog here that asks what content I want to subscribe to. By default, I will get all legislation relating to the topic of education, all rulemaking documents, and all publications relating to that topic. You can elect to unselect any of these, so if you just want to see legislation relating to education, you can do so. Click Save, and now anything that's tagged with that topic, I'll get an email alert on without having to come in and enter those bill numbers and code sections individually. You can do as many of these as you like by simply checking as many or as few of these boxes as you want, and then saying Add Rule when you want to add that to your collection. Categories function very similarly. The only difference really between the two is the look, how they're organized, and also the amount of results that you're going to get. A topic search is going to be a much more narrow search than a category search. A category is going to return a lot more results, and you'll get a lot more content subscribing to a category than you would a topic. And it does look a little different, but the functionality is pretty much the same. So as opposed to showing you an alphabetical list, it does show you an alphabetical list, but there's a little bit of a hierarchy here. So as you can see, all of these have check boxes in front of them that you can subscribe to an entire category, or if you want to narrow that down, you can click on the little arrow in front of that particular folder and narrow down what you're subscribing to. So maybe within agriculture, I'm only interested in crops. I can click on crops, and then I'm not going to be subscribed to all of this additional content that I would get if I was subscribed to the main category here. Again, when you click Add Rule, you'll get that same pop-up that's asking what kind of content you want to subscribe to. Make your choice, select or deselect what you want, hit Save, and now anytime anything is tagged with the category of agriculture crops, I will get an email alert about that. So a pretty useful tool. That's where you can add content. If I scroll down, I can actually see the content that I've added to my collection here. The first table shows all of the rules. Rules are what are going to add content to your collection. So for example, I subscribe to legislation by the LSB number 1512. I can check the little box in front of this rule, and I can scroll down in my document list here, and anything that was added to my collection as a result of that particular rule is going to show up in red. Now, it was the first thing I did, so it's probably going to be closer to the bottom of the list here. But as you can see, it will go ahead and put in red text anything that was added to my collection as a result of that rule. So you can see right here, that is 1512, that's the LSB number, so it went ahead and added this particular piece of legislation to my collection for me. Scroll back up here. You can do that with any of the rules. And as you can see, I've subscribed to quite a lot of content just by doing the category option. I'm going to go ahead and just delete some of these so it's not quite as long of a list. Anytime you want to remove a rule, you simply check the box in front of it, hit the trash can icon, hit yes, and you've removed the selected rule from your collection. You can copy these rules to another collection. You can move them to another collection. Locking them will again stop it from updating. So if I want to stop receiving all pieces of legislation with this LSB number, but I want to maintain what's already in my collection, I can hit the lock button. It's going to put a little lock over here. Oops, I didn't select it. It's going to put a little lock over here that you'll be able to see. Okay, I will maintain the content that I already have in my documents collection, but it's not going to continue to add bills with this piece of, or with this LSB number. If you want to unlock it, check it again. Use the key to unlock. And now it will go back to updating in real time. And then lastly, this last table represents all of the actual documents in your collection. So this would be all of the code sections, administrative code sections, topics, and, or not topics, I should say, legislation that you've subscribed to. There's an option here where you can upload your own document. If your legislator has a document that maybe they want to maintain in this collection, they can upload it here and add that to their big collection. You can go ahead and search your collection documents for keywords. This one comes in especially handy when this list gets quite long. As session continues, of course, more bills are introduced, more content gets added. So what you can do is click on the column heading here, check this box to select everything in your collection. Use this, enter a keyword. I'm going to use education because I know I have some education results in here. Type in your keyword or phrase, hit search. It will tell you how many documents it found in your collection relating to that keyword. And if you scroll down, those will be highlighted in yellow for you. So you can quickly kind of see which results you're looking for. using that option. And then again, you have the ability to copy these documents to another collection, move them to another collection, export them to Excel, and of course remove anything you want by just checking the box in front of the one that you want to remove. So you can update these at any time you wish. This is completely for your use. The only people that have access to this are the people that have your same username and password. But again, it's a great place to direct constituents. Lobbyists are big fans of this tool because it does give you those updates in real time without having to check the website, without having to call or email your legislator. So they can get a lot of this information themselves without a whole lot of work on their part. Lastly, there are some additional options that you can do for documents in your collection. You can click right here to add a note. Maybe this is the one that you're looking for taxes, bill, or what have you. It's not a bill, but you get my drift. You can click Save. It will add that note to the bottom of that document, and if you export it or move it, that note will always be associated with that document in your collection. You can edit it at any time by clicking the pencil icon and making your changes. There's also the option to prioritize documents. And this request came from a lobbyist who said, yes, I've declared on all these bills, but there's certain bills that I'm specifically interested in, and I'd really like those to appear at the top of my list. So if there's something that you always want to appear at the top of your list for easy access, you can use this little star icon to do that. And I'm going to just click a few down here. And then on subsequent visits or a refresh of the page, anything that has a little star in front of it is going to be sorted up to the top of your table here. You can remove the star by just clicking it again, and now that prioritization setting goes away. So again, use that as you see fit. You will be able to access these documents by clicking the links. There is the type of document here, so whether it's a code section, a rulemaking document, a legislation, you'll be able to see that here. For legislation, you'll also be able to see the version of that legislation. You'll be able to see the name. All of these are linked, so clicking on these will take you to our bill book application for legislation. Clicking on these will take you to the ARC number on our website. The title will be listed here. Any action can be shown by clicking on the little arrow right here, and this will show you all of the action for that particular item in your collection. Actually, I don't want to use that one. I'm going to use this document one. And it'll show you, again, just some bill history here. There are links within the bill history as well. So if you want to see the journal reference that deals with something, if there is a video where they actually do a debate on this, all of those will be linked in here as well. So you can see the bill history from Bills and Rules Watch by clicking this arrow here. And then lastly, you have the date that this was updated. So you'll be able to see that very quickly. Also, and it's not going to work right now because nothing is happening, but if there is an exclamation point underneath the arrow, that denotes that there's been new action since your last visit. Now, if you subscribe to receive that content via email, you'll get that automatically, but it's just a nice visual cue when you come to here that you're able to see what's changed recently. So I've just scratched the surface of what this tool can do, but it is a very useful tool. Again, not as much for you guys because you're already going to be subscribed to this content regardless, but this is a great place to direct constituents. Anyone in the public can use this tool to sign up to receive these email alerts. The last new thing this year in this tool is this meetings on bills. A lobbyist requested this. They said, I have all these bills I declared on. It would be great if I could get an alert when that bill was coming up in committee. So any bills in your collection, you don't have to select the collection here. It'll go for all of your collections. If there is a meeting upcoming on that bill, it will display right here for you. And there's also a PDF option, so if you wanted to print that off or see a PDF, you could click that button to do so. Now, right now, there's nothing scheduled. This will continue to update in real time as meetings are scheduled or canceled, and as more legislation gets introduced. So that is also there for your use. Again, you're already going to be alerted via committee forums, but this is more for the public. That's the Bills and Rules Watch application. It can do a lot more. I kind of just scratched the surface. We have a lot to cover today. But if you have any more questions or you want to talk to me about it, please don't hesitate to come find me in the Capitol. And again, you can have that handout that I've given you that kind of walks you through everything here. So that was the big one on subscriptions. And again, you have those other subscription options as well. Anyone can come in and subscribe to anything as long as they create an account. And then lastly, we have just the ADA policy, the privacy policy, and the disclaimer. This is all just legal jargon that we have to post out there. So if you have a lot of time on your hands and you feel like getting really bored, you can knock yourself out. Whoops. No, I didn't want to stop that. Hold on. Sorry, slip of the button. My apologies. There we go. I want to get back to the test website. This is just in my way here. So, as I mentioned, the main page looks like this today. And I think we got permission to do this tomorrow, but I'm not quite sure. By Monday, it will definitely look like the new layout, which is the layout that we use during session, which looks like this. And what we've done here is basically put out most of the content that people request or are looking for during session right on the home page, so they don't have to go digging for it. First thing you'll see is that the Senate is on the left-hand side, the House action is on the right-hand side. So it is separated into these two columns here. Now, you can see the videos up here underneath each chamber. Clicking on the live will show you the live video from the chamber at that time. If we're not in session or we're at recess, you're going to see a splash screen like this. Sometimes there will be words over the top that says House is recessed until 3 p.m. Whatever's written up there, the House and Senate staff in the well maintain this. So this will always show you, I think there's a 10-second delay, but pretty much a live video stream of whatever is going on in either chamber, depending on the link that you click. And that keeps getting in my way, apologies. It does pop up in a new tab here, so you can just close that and go back to the other page. The next one you'll see next to the live is the daily archives. So this will actually allow you to see videos from a previous day. Right now, it's already flipped to the next GA, so I'm going to go ahead. Anytime you see a General Assembly picker or a year picker at the top of a page, that means you can use this arrow to navigate back in time and see the information as it existed at that point. So I'm just going to go back to last year so I can see some content on this page. So you can see I have all of the video dates and timestamps here. The video starts when we gavel in and it stops when we gavel out. So if there are multiple times that we do that on a given day, you may see multiple links for the same date, but you will be able to see that there's a different time here. So clicking on these will launch that video. It'll give you the duration here, and then also there's just a little hit count, how many people are viewing that content. You can toggle to the opposite chamber by using the little switch down here. So even though I clicked on Senate, I can toggle back and forth between the chambers using that little toggle right here. And again, I don't see any content right now. Once content starts being introduced, you'll see that. After the first day, you'll start seeing links. I'm going to go back to my home page. Bill archives. This is probably the one that gets most frequently used. Generally, when people are watching video, they want to see a debate on a particular bill. So this allows you to do that. Click on Bill archives. Again, I'm going to navigate back to last GA because there's nothing happening right this minute. And you'll be able to see all of the videos or all of the debate videos for each of these bills. Clicking on the bill will open up the video and we'll start. Oops, okay. It looks like they're flipping that over right now. My apologies. It's always difficult to train right before session because there's so many things in flux right now. But this will all work on Monday. It's just us working out all the kinks and flipping everything over for the new General Assembly. So again, you can click here, you can click on the bill, and it will launch the debate for that video. It will start the video when we started debating the bill, and it will finish the video when we're done. So a real quick way to not have to go through and find a daily video and the right location, you can just click right here. The bill was debated multiple times. You will see multiple results, and you can see the date and timestamps next to each one of those. And then lastly is just the viewership report, and that's on the other page actually. Live audio. Some people prefer to listen as opposed to watch. It used to be the only thing that we had before we had the video. Now right now, there's nothing happening, so you're going to get this little message saying that there's no content that can be found, and that's because we're not streaming right now. Live audio only works when we're in session. So if that ever doesn't work, that is the reason. And again, it's not as popular as it once was because most people prefer to watch the video, but that being said, if you want to listen to audio, you can absolutely do so using that link. Senate floor votes by bill and House floor votes by bill. This was kind of a soft launch last year, but I definitely want to point it out because I find it super useful. A lot of times you're interested in the vote on a bill, and not just the number of who voted yes, who voted no, but you want to know who voted which way. It used to be that that content was only found in the journal, but we've created this page here to make it a little bit easier for you. So if I click on Senate floor votes by bill, for example, again, it's already flipped to the new General Assembly. So I'm going to go ahead and pick this next one here so you can see some content. You'll be able to choose the chamber or both chambers. You'll select a date range. Right now, it's going to show me everything from last year, the first day of, from February until June of last year. And then you can also put in a search subject if you wish, or a bill number here. But it will list all of the bills that have had votes within this date range or within this chamber. And then you can also see, again, by clicking the link, this will take you to our bill book application and give you all of the information about that particular bill. And then you have your vote count here. So you get the bill title, again, who voted yes, 52 people voted yes, 40 people voted no, absent or not voting 8. Great, but who voted which way? If I click on the vote PDF, and I'm not going to do this because I know they're fixing this right now, that will show you who voted which way. Well, I think they might have fixed it. Nope. Okay. They probably haven't prod. But anyway, clicking that PDF icon will pull up and show you a list of who voted yes, those 52 people, who voted no, those 40 people, and then absent or not voting with those 8 names. So very handy. There's also this amendment vote option here. So same kind of thing. If there was an amendment for the bill that you're looking at, it'll give you the amendment vote. And again, that PDF will show you who voted which way. You can also export this content to Excel. So if you want to get this content in Excel where you can edit it or move it around, you can do so. The links will be maintained in Excel, so you can still have those links there to the bill book content. And again, that's available right on the home page. The next one down is your tentative Senate and House daily debate calendars. This shows all of the bills that are eligible to be debated on a given day. That's not to say that they will be debated on that day. There are various rules and hurdles that legislation has to jump through. Once they reach that point and they are eligible for the debate, they will be added to this list. Again, all of these bills are linked. You can click on the bill number to view the full text in bill book and all the information about the bill. You guys are already going to receive this via email from chamber staff. But again, you can access it from the home page using that link. I'm going to go ahead and just start closing some of these tabs up here. A little hard for me because it's covered by the thing right there. So back again on our test page, just because I need to show you the layout here. The first 2 boxes at the top will show you the Senate floor action and the House floor action. And this will update in real time. So as it goes through, as we're introducing bills or people are speaking, you'll see that this will update in real time. The most current action will be at the bottom, and you'll see that it will feed up. There is someone in the well that feeds in this information, so it is generally pretty quick about updating. It may be, a few seconds behind, but there's not a whole lot we can do about that. Again, all of the bills are linked. You can click on the link to get to that content in bill book. If you want to see this in a full page layout, you can do so. And if you want to see House or Senate action from a previous day, you can use the archive link and choose that date as well. The next 2 boxes show the committee meeting schedules in each chamber. So standing committees, appropriate committees, subcommittees, council and interim committees, and public hearings will be listed here. This will be for the current day only. So you can see all of the current day's committee meetings for that day. As meetings are canceled, this will update in real time. If another meeting is scheduled, it will update in real time. So when you look at it, it will always be accurate for the time that you're looking at it. There's also a full page option here if you want to see that. And then again, we have our popular links and publications down here at the bottom. So they're the same ones that you see on our web page right now. They're just a little further down the page. So if you got used to using those and you want to see them, they're still there. They're just below the boxes on the main page. And these are just out here for easy access. All of these links are accessible elsewhere on our website. We just ran a hit count and saw that these were the most popular, so we posted them on the home page so people could get to them quickly without having to do a lot of digging. Are there any questions on anything we've covered so far? Home page, Bills and Rules Watch, I should say. Yes, it's a lot of information, I know.
Okay, go. This, I think, is most important, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
This page right
Yes.
here, and that's where, okay.
That's the home page, yes.
All right.
And that's why I spend the most time on it.
Okay.
And again, right now it looks like this, but very soon it'll flip over to this layout. Absolutely. And yes, I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you guys, and we're not even, well, we're probably halfway through class right now. Nope, not yet. So, like I said, I don't expect you to remember all this. I just want you to know that this information is out here for your use. And if you need help finding something, that's what we're here for. Come find me, and I can walk you through how to get to the content that you like. And everybody's really helpful in the chamber as well. If you sit next to a clerk that's been here a while, they're more than happy to help. Everybody's very nice. So the next tab we're going to talk about is our Senate and House tab. Now, almost all of the information contained on this page is going to be on the home page during session, but during the interim, this is kind of where it lives. So you'll see audio here for the House and Senate. Again, we always put the Senate on the left side and the House on the right side. If you want to listen to the audio, you can click the live. We do archive audio now, so if you want to listen to audio from a previous day, there's a link to do that here. Little caveat that this doesn't work in Internet Explorer, and then some instructions if someone wants to download the software on an Apple or Android, how they can get that audio stream to work. So we do try to post instructions for a lot of our tools as well, again, because we know the public doesn't know how to use these tools, so we want to make it accessible and transparent to everyone. The next section is the videos. We already talked about this. Again, these are going to be on the home page during session. You have your live, your daily archive, which shows you videos from previous days, your bill archives, which show you the debate on various bills, and then there's also a viewership report here, and that's mostly for the media. They're interested in seeing how many people are watching a particular bill or a particular live stream, so we have that report here as well. There's also a both option. So if you want to see both chambers side by side watching the video, you can do that. Now, I will caution you, when you launch that, both of them are going to start speaking, so you'll probably want to mute one or the other so you can hear. That's only if they're both in session, of course. When they're not in session, you're just going to get this splash screen here that'll say what they're doing or give you a picture of the Capitol. And then if you scroll down here, you'll see that House action that's on the home page as well. So this House action will determine what's going on up here. So whatever you see last, if you see that Senator X is debating House File 123, Senator X will be up here debating House File 123. So those are your video options. The chamber display boards. For those of you that have been in the chamber before, there is a big screen up on either side of the well, and written on that screen is generally what we're doing at that point in time. So if there's a committee block or if we're discussing a bill, it'll have that bill written on the board. And if you're in the chamber, of course, all you have to do is look up. But sometimes people want to see what's written on the other chamber board. This would allow you to do that. Now, right now, there's nothing written on them, so that's what this shows. But when there is something written on it, that will update in real time and show you what's going on there. And then we have our various calendars. Today in the chambers, again, choose your chamber. It's going to give you this page, which is going to allow you to narrow down your content based on what you want to see. Now, I chose the Senate link, so the Senate chamber is going to be selected here. If I had chosen the House link, the House chamber would be selected. You can toggle between the two on this page. You don't have to navigate back and click the other link. By default, it's going to show you all of the committees for this date range, which is today. You can change the date range to show you several days or a week or several months. Update that however you want, but by default, it's just going to show you the committees for the current day. If there are no committee meetings scheduled for that particular day, it will just say no meetings scheduled. And as you can see today, session hasn't started yet, so there's not a lot of content here. To remove any content that you don't want, you can simply uncheck the boxes here, and it will narrow down and just show you that. And then there's also an option here. All of the committees that are scheduled on a given day, you can filter out one or several by using this little drop down. By default, it shows you all of the committees. Make whatever changes you want up top, and the content down below will update accordingly. There's also throughout our website what are called breadcrumbs, and this kind of shows the path that I took to get here. Now, a lot of these links are located in multiple locations on our website, but they all have one, what we call home. So this is where the home is. You would go to the Iowa Legislature homepage, click on the Committees and Schedules tab, click on Meetings, and that's taken me to this page. Now, as you know, that's not how we got here. We got here by clicking on the Senate and House tab and clicking on Today in the Chambers. So it'll give you the path to take to go back, but it'll be the home and not necessarily the path that you took. If you want to use the back button, that will usually return you to the page, but a lot of times it will just open up in a new tab. So if you want to navigate back, you just click back. Then we have our schedules for standing committees and subcommittees on bills on both a daily and 2-week basis. I'm not going to click on these because nothing has been scheduled yet, so it's just a blank page. Once things start being scheduled, you'll be able to click on these links to view that content. And again, you're already going to be notified via email of any standing committees and subcommittees that your legislator is a member of. So that's not something that you have to check. It's more if you want to check and see what everybody is doing. And then we have our session calendars down here in the bottom. The first one you'll see is the session timetable, and this contains all of the important dates that happen throughout session. This is already updated for the current year, and it is subject to change. However, if it does change, we'll post the updated version here, so this should always be the most current version of the document. And this just walks you through several of the important dates. So from the first day of session, which this year is January 11th, there's various dates where certain bills can be brought up. Debate is limited by rule, various funnel dates that bills have to get through before they can be brought up, etc. All the way down to the last date where the per diem ends and generally the clerks stop working, but is not necessarily the last day of session. This year that is April 30th. That's the day they are shooting to adjourn by. Those of you that have been here know that is almost never the day that we actually adjourn. I can't remember if that's ever happened, at least not when I've been here, it hasn't. But generally that's when, like I said, per diem ends, the clerks go home, the pages go home. It's generally considered the end of session, even if we're not adjourned. There are 110 calendar days in the first year of a General Assembly, so this year there are 110 calendar days. In the second year of a General Assembly, there are only 100 days. So we have 10 more days this year, the first year of a General Assembly, than we'll have next year. Again, that opened up in a new tab. I'm just going to close that down, take me back to that page. If you want to see session timetables from previous years, you can click there to view those. There is a weekly calendar for both the Senate and House. Again, you guys will receive these via email, but this is just a little look. They already have been posted for the next General Assembly. So here's the schedule for next week for the Senate. It just shows you basically all of the placeholders, so when committees are scheduled, etc. This one doesn't generally update, like it says, subject to change here. So this is a static document. Placeholders are created at the beginning of the week. You're emailed this document, and then as changes are made throughout the week, this document doesn't get updated. So take this with a large grain of salt, but it gives you a general idea of when we'll be coming in, tell you when session will begin for that day. If there are speeches or committee blocks, it'll show you that here. And again, you'll already get emailed this document, but it's also available on our website here. If you wanted to see previous weeks, you can click on the archives option, choose the week to see the weekly calendar from that point in time. The debate eligibility calendars, this just takes you to our debate eligibility calendar page. There are some additional calendars that you can look at. There is a brief description of each one of these calendars and kind of what they show. I usually do the either regular calendar, which again you guys get emailed, or the daily debate calendar. Again, just because it's on the calendar doesn't mean it's going to be debated on this day. It just means that it is eligible to be debated on this day. So anything on this list can be brought up at any time by the majority, but that's not to say that it will be brought up on the given day. Go back to the Senate and House tab, back along the bottom here. The next one down is the social calendar. With COVID, it's probably not going to be as packed as it usually is, but it still will show you all of the events going on at the Capitol during session. Again, you're leaving our state-supported website for this, so that's what this message tells you. You just click here, and it takes you to the social calendar. This shows all of the events happening during session. If you want to know more about an event, you can click on it. It'll give you some more information. There's a more details option here. This is also a calendar that can be added to your legislator's Outlook. And if you're a new member this year, we went ahead and added the social calendar for all new members this year. If that's something that you don't have and you would like, come find me in the Copy Center or my associates, and we'll be happy to add that for you. And then you can have it on your phone or your device or your Outlook and get alerts as opposed to having to look for this calendar. But really what this calendar shows for a lot of us clerks and staff is if there is a free lunch. So if Hickory Park is coming in and giving us all a free lunch, this is where you can find information about that event and where to go. If you have a question or a concern or need to make a change to the social calendar, you would talk to the Chief Clerk, Megan Nelson. Her contact information is right here, so you can talk to her about that. Capitol Complex events. Clicking on this will take you to the DAS website, and this shows all of the events going on in the entire Capitol Complex and not just the Capitol building. So all of the buildings on campus, Lucas, Miller, Wallace, all of the buildings in the Capitol Complex. But this is maintained by DAS, so we link to it off of our site. That's in the chambers. I'm going to go ahead and just sign out here so we don't get all these extra numbers that you're seeing. Just looks a little busier. There we go. Next one down is debate eligibility calendar. This is exactly like clicking on debate eligibility calendar on the previous page. Again, just another way to get to the same content. You have your Senate and House daily action. Again, this will display on the home page during session, but you can see it here during the interim, and it will always show the most current date here. You can view the other chamber by clicking the link here. You can view previous day's actions by choosing your chamber and then the date here. Senate and House Action Archive, Senate and House Action Archive, you would just choose your date and you'd be able to see the action for that particular day. Senate and House Journals, you guys are really only concerned with the journals as it pertains to votes, and I already showed you on the home page how you can see who voted which way, so people probably won't go into the journals as much. But that being said, this is how you can access those. Within Bill Book, when you look at bill history, the journal references are always going to be linked for you. So all you will have to do is click on like HJ, which is the House Journal, and it'll open up that journal for you. That being said, if you want to go through and browse the journal or search them, you can do that using these links provided. Oops, go back to Senate and House. That was Senate and House Journals. The last one is Chamber Rules. And we post this on many pages on our website just because this is a question we get asked very frequently by the public. They want to know dress code that's required on the floor, if there are certain rules they have to follow when they're in the chamber. They'll go over all of this with you guys at orientation if you're new. So this isn't something you have to read by any means, but like I said, it's a question that we get very frequently, so we post it out on the website so people can access this information when needed. And you would just click on the PDF icon to open up those documents. On most of the pages on our website, you will also see a print icon in the upper right if you need to quickly print off the contents of a page. Much better to do it this way than to do a file print. File print is going to give you all the stuff on the sides and on the top that you don't want. The print is actually just going to print the page content for you, and it's going to pull up in a printer-friendly format. There's also a permanent link option. This is more for people that are linking to content off of our website, but basically what it does is it creates a link that you can use to always navigate to this page. So even if we change our domain, things like that, this link will remain working. But again, that's mostly for public members and executive branch people who want to put links to our website out on their websites or on their documents. That's the Senate and House tab. The next one over is the Legislators tab. It shows, you guessed it, all the information about legislators. First thing to point out, there are some new legislator resources. If I click down here, these are all the resources that we put out for new members, thinking that might be some stuff that they'd want to read. We have legal information for new members, fiscal information for new members. Again, just posting this out here for easy access. All of this content is accessible elsewhere on our website, but new members may not know where to find it, so this is our way of kind of giving them a little easier way to get to this information here. That was on legislators, new legislator resources, and then all of this information here. The first one we'll talk about is find your legislator. This is a big one. It seems like sometimes people will just pick a legislator out of a hat and start writing that person and decide that they're the one that they should talk to. But actually, they should be contacting their elected representative for their area. So we have several different ways of finding your member. The first and the most accurate is either the interactive map or the address fields. The reason for that is it gives us a pinpointed location on a map that we can say, okay, here's exactly who represents that area. You can do the same thing with a city name, zip code, county, or school district. However, there may be some overlap. For example, multiple representatives may represent the same city, depending on the location in the city. Multiple representatives or senators may represent the same zip code. So there may be some overlap. So these are a little bit less accurate. They're still accurate. You're just going to have some overlap if you don't use the exact address. I know some people are loath to put in their address here. We don't keep these. We don't keep a record of them. It's just a simple database query. So if you want to type in an address, oops, I typed today. And as you can see, when I type, it's going to start pulling up some results here. I can choose it. I can say search, but it actually just launches once I click one from the drop-down, and it quickly pulls up the people who represent that area. So here is my senator, Nate Bolton. I can click on his name to be taken to his page on the website, more information about that legislator. I can click on the district map to be taken to a district map that shows the area that person represents. And you also get a nice photo here. Under other elected officials, that is collapsed by default. If I use the little arrow here, this is going to show your United States senators and representatives, and again, links to their pages and color pictures of them. So I recommend that you use the address option because it's going to give you the most accurate results. However, of course, you can choose a city and do a search that way. Same with zip code, county, and school district. There just might be multiple representatives depending on what city or zip code you choose. And then the interactive map option. This functions a lot like Google Earth. It allows you to click on areas on a map and drill down to that information as opposed to typing an address. You still can type an address up here, but what you can do is simply click on an area on the map. All the district numbers are denoted here. You can click on one. It'll refresh the page, and then it will pull up and kind of zoom in on the map in that area. And they might actually be working on redistricting right now, so that might not work. So I apologize, I can't show you that. Like I said, everything's kind of in flux right now. But you can also type in your address up here. And again, it will pop up and give you some options. Pulling up the address, again, will show your members over here along the left. If you keep drilling down, I'm not going to click because they're still updating, but it'll just keep drilling down. You can get to about a 2-block radius. So it's kind of cool. I can see the top of my house. I can see all the houses around me, and then I can see the people who represent my area. Again, you have color pictures. Clicking on the picture will take you to their page on our website. Clicking on the district will show you a district map of the area they represent. The other thing that's handy about this, and again, if you scroll down, you get your federal members of Congress. There is a link option here, so if a constituent writes you and they say, I don't know who represents my area, I don't want to search for it, you can come in, you can run the search for somebody, you can click on this little envelope and this will launch for you. I'm just on this training computer, so it's asking me to choose. But what it will do is it will put the URL here in a new email message. The subject will be Find Your Legislator. You just fill in the to field and hit send. When they click on this link, it's going to pull up this exact page. So they don't have to run the search. Clicking the link will pull up those search results for them, which is very handy. This will just give you the link. This one actually inserts the link into a new email message. That popped up in a new tab. So I'm going to go back to my main page here, and that was your interactive map. Over on the left, the next one down is leadership. Very straightforward. This gives you all of the members that have a leadership position in both chambers. If there is a change in leadership in the same GA, there's this area that shows former members. There'll be the name of the person that served in that position, and then there will be dates when they served in that position. And then the ones up here are the current ones. Again, when there is a General Assembly or year picker at the top, that indicates you can go back and see previous years. We do have this information going back to the 80th General Assembly. Choose the General Assembly here from the drop-down to see the leadership as it existed at that point in time. Go back to show my regular. Hovering over any of these legislator pictures will show you a color photo. Clicking on their name will take you to that legislator's page on our website. We do this for all of our members. We just put some basic information out here. Your legislator can elect if they want to add additional information. But it gives the name, their picture, what chamber they're in, their party, a link to the district map of the area they represent. Committee memberships will be listed here. If they have a leadership position in committee, chair, vice chair, or ranking member, that will be denoted as well. You'll be able to see if they had former memberships. So, for example, Speaker Grassley had some former memberships in committees that he no longer has. It gives you dates and just date stamps for when they served in that committee. Scroll down a little bit further, and they get the contact information. The only thing that the LSA puts out there by default is your legislative email address and the Capitol phone number. Everybody has a actual cord phone at their desk in the chamber. So that's the only thing we put out there by default. Speaker Grassley also elected to put out his home phone, his home address, and his occupation. If you want additional information or your legislator wants additional information on their page, again, they can talk to Maureen in the Senate or Megan or Michelle in the House, and we can add that additional content for you. There's also additional information about Pat Grassley. Clicking on that will take you to his member page. Again, that is his personal page that we do not maintain, so you get that little message that you're leaving our site. And then there's also a subscribe link here. You guys will be sending out newsletters each week to constituents that request it, and this is where they can come in and sign up to receive those. So 2 different ways of signing up. They can email your representative, or they can come in here, click the link, enter in their info, and then subscribe that way. And you can also direct them here. So if they say, I want to subscribe to your legislator's newsletter, you can give them the link to this page, have them enter in their info, and then the next time you send out your newsletter, they will be a recipient of it. And then lastly, up here on the top, you're going to see all of the legislation that this particular legislator has sponsored. So clicking on this will show you all of the bills they've sponsored, amendments, anything that they are floor manager on, meaning that they are actually managing the debate on the floor of the chamber. We'll show those, and then any subcommittee assignments as well. Again, if your legislator has been here for some time, you can click on the link up here to navigate back and see their information as it existed earlier. So again, you get a color photo and you get all of the memberships and sponsor information from that year. If they've served many years, you can click the View All Years link, and you can kind of see kind of date progression in the pictures, which I'm sure they just love. Watching them, get new haircuts or get older, and you can see all the information as it existed at that point in time. So kind of cool. Again, only works if your legislator has been here for several years. If they're new, they're not going to see that. And then the next few links here, senators or representatives. Both are going to take you to the same page. It's just going to select one chamber or the other depending on what you clicked here. So I chose Senate, so that's the one selected. If I wanted to choose House, I'd simply choose that radio button and the content will adjust for me. Again, by default, this will always be the most current General Assembly. As new members have not been sworn in yet, this will flip over on Monday. But again, you can navigate back in time to see previous legislators. And there's also the option to do both chambers. So if I want to see all legislators regardless of chamber alphabetically, that option allows me to do that. And then I can also separate out by party. Now, as you can see, Democrat and Republican aren't the only parties listed here. The reason for that is that we have this data going all the way back to the very first General Assembly in 1838. So you can see that. And then also, if we get historical information, we'll go ahead and post that out here as well. So a lot of great-great-grandsons and granddaughters write in and say, my grandfather used to serve in the House in this state, and here's a great picture of him. So if we get that content, and we do, we'll go ahead and post it out here. And we're always adding more historical content as we get it. I'm going to go back to our General Assembly here. And no email addresses or phone numbers back in 1838. That's a question we get asked quite frequently. But here's how it exists today, of course. The chamber, it's going to tell you the chamber, their name, of course. It'll be alphabetized by last name. Clicking on their name will pull up their legislator page on our website. Hovering over their name will show you a color picture of them. Clicking on the district number will pull up a district map of the area they represent. It'll show their party, their county, and then a link to their email address. So clicking on this would put that person's name in the to field of a new Outlook message if you're using your legislative machine. All of these column headings are also sortable. Anything that is underlined, you can sort by. So as I mentioned, by default, this is sorted alphabetically by last name. If I wanted to sort it by district number, I could click on the column heading. It resorts my table according to district number. If I wanted to see it by party, it would put Democrats at the top, Republicans at the bottom. It's alphabetical. So just different ways of organizing the content. It's not changing the content, it's just changing how it's sorted. If I scroll down to the bottom here, I also get a count of how many members of each chamber are in each party. Again, if there is a membership change, someone leaves or gets elected in the middle of a General Assembly, you'll have that former membership information there as well. So So that's senators and representatives. The next one is current legislator information. The legislator list here, again, takes me back to that same page, except instead of choosing House or Senate, it chooses both by default. Personal financial disclosures. These are financial disclosures that each legislator has to fill out each year. So clicking on that and then their name will just pull those up for you. And then you'll be able to see the committee listing by member or member listing by committee. This shows you all of the committees. So unlike clicking on the committee up here and clicking on each committee individually, this gives you a committee listing of all members or all committees. Now again, this hasn't been updated for the current General Assembly yet. It will be quite soon. But this first one shows you the member and then gives you all of their committee membership. If they are a vice chair, chair, or ranking member of a committee, you'll see that as well. Pulls up a new tab, so I'm just going to close that tab. And then the other one does the committee, oops, sorry, I clicked on the same one again. Sorry, that's the committee listing by member. And then the member listing by committee just shows the membership for all of the committees in this format. So again, same information, just either by member or by committee is how you can pull that up. Historical legislator information, really cool information. Like I said, you can look for anyone who's ever served in the Iowa legislature. However, I don't think you guys are going to use that on a regular basis, so I'm going to skip over that. District maps and data. This is, again, we've already seen throughout how district maps are linked next to all the legislators they pertain to. This just gives you some additional options here if you want to do a black and white or a color, get congressional district maps. There's an interactive district map option here. All of those are accessible. The one I do point out is this district profiles. Kind of cool. There's some census data that we've collected for each one of these counties or districts. So there's census data up here. There's information about the county or school district. There's a geographic breakdown. So you just choose your chamber and the district number, and it gives you all of this data on our website, which is kind of neat. You don't have to go searching for it. I'm just hitting the back button. And then lastly, we have the redistricting. Redistricting happens every 10 years, so 2021 is the year that we're doing it, which is why some of our maps are updating again. So again, that is in process right now. If you want to see districts as they existed at previous years, you can click on those years to view those. And then if you have a lot of time on your hands and you want to learn all about the process of districting, all of that information is here for you too. Are there any questions on the Senate and House tab or the Legislators tab before we move on? No. Okay, moving on. The next tab is probably where you're going to spend most of your time, and that's the Legislation tab. First thing you'll see over here on the right is you have the same quick finds here that you have on the legislative homepage. So again, just out here for easy access. The first one you'll see under Bill Tracking Tools is our pre-filed bills. These are all the bills that have been submitted for consideration before the convening of session. If you want to see more information about those, you'd simply click on the document link. If you want to see the background statement, you'd simply click on the PDF icon to launch those. And then Bill Book. This is one of the handouts that I've given you as well. This is kind of like the Bible for legislation. You can find all of the information on a piece of legislation in one place in Bill Book. If you click the Bill Book link, it's going to look like this initially. And again, this is just in our effort to help the public get to what they want. They don't always know the bill number, which is what's required here. So they can click on a category, for example, education. It will run a search of our website, and again, we'll pull up all current legislation relating to that category that they chose. Those categories are the same ones that we saw in our Bills and Rules Watch application. So you'll see categories and topics throughout our website, and they mirror the ones in a Bills and Rules Watch. But clicking on the PDF icon next to the bill information will pull up the instructions that I sent you guys with the information on using the Bill Book tool. There is also some additional information. I'm just closing some tabs up here so I don't get quite so much content. There we go. A little bit easier. What you will do is you will enter in the bill number. Again, whatever the bill number is, it can be a study bill, it can be an amendment, it can be a bill number, it can be a resolution, whatever you like. Type in the bill number here, hit go or enter on your keyboard, pulls up the full text of the most recent version of the bill in the right-hand pane. It also has this little EG that tells you, again, the format to use. If you're using this, this is exactly like running a quick search on our homepage. The only difference is on the home page, it's going to take you to current legislation only. Here, as you can see, I can navigate back and see bills from previous GAs. We do have this going back to the 12th General Assembly. So if you want to see bill information from a previous year, you would just select it from the GA and then enter your bill number, and you would see it as it existed at that point in time. There's also a keyword search. So again, just like on the home page, you can enter in a keyword, hit go or enter on your keyboard. It will show you all current legislation for that particular keyword. Back in bill book. And then you have a listing here of all of the bills. So if you're unsure and you want to see everything, again, this is 2 years worth of data at this point, so it's quite a long list. It'll start off much shorter since we're starting everything over this year. But all you have to do is then choose it from the drop-down and pull it up that way. Same thing, just 2 different ways of doing it. If you don't want to type it in, you can pull it up using the drop-down here. Trying to get to one that's been enrolled. There we go. As I mentioned, whatever bill you choose, the most current version of that bill will pull up. So I was looking for one that had reached enrolled status. The enrolled bills start with the actual letter that the governor signs, and then as you scroll down, you get the final copy of the bill. As you can see, if there are multiple versions of a bill, you're able to change the version by using the drop-down provided here. All of the content down below will again depend on the bill as well as the version that you've selected up here at the top. If there are no amendments for the version that you've chosen, it will state that for you. Obviously, the enrolled version is the final version. There are never amendments to the enrolled version, but sometimes there may be amendments for the introduced version. Let me see if I can find one that's got some amendments here so I can show you that. There's 3 statuses, or I should say there's 4 in bill book, but there's 3 statuses the bill can go through. When it first is introduced and read on the floor, that's the introduced version. This is what the originating chamber is going to debate. This is how they're going to introduce amendments and debate it on the floor. If there is an amendment, you'll be able to see that there's an amendment drop down here. If I select an amendment here, you'll see that my screen splits, and now I have the bill that's being amended up here in the top pane, and the amendments amending the bill down here in the lower pane. Now, amendments are going to change certain sections of a bill. So, for example, in this particular amendment, it's going to change page 5 after line 14 by inserting the following text. Rather than me coming up here and scrolling down to page 5, line 14, if I hit this little number that's linked in front of that action, it takes me right to page 5, line 14 of the bill. So I can quickly see, okay, this is exactly where it's going to put in this information. You can quickly print off this information by clicking the PDF icon. That will give you a printer-friendly version of the bill or amendment. Clicking on the RTF will drop that content into Word for you. So if you want to make your own copy of the bill so you can make notes on it or make changes, you can drop that content into Word using the RTF option. When you're finished looking at the amendment, if you want to just show the bill again, simply click on the little X to close that section. It goes back to just showing you the bill in the main pane. Bill history. This will show you the last 5 actions that have happened on the bill, the most recent action being the one at the top. If you want to see everything that's happened on the bill, you can click the Show All option, and now you can see everything that's happened on the bill from the time it was introduced. You'll also be able to see, and this is the way I prefer to view bill history, if you click on the bill history link here, this gives you what's called the enhanced bill history. So it gives you just some more information all in one place. So I can quickly see right at the top of the page the status, this bill was signed by the governor. I can see the floor managers. Again, this is the legislator that's running the debate on either chamber floor. I can see all the lobbyist declarations pertaining to this bill. I get all of those related bills. Again, those bills sharing that same 4-digit LFB number, all of the ones that are related. You'll see the committee the bill came out of, short title of the committee. If it was formerly a different number, you'll see that. You'll see if it's reached enrolled status, the effective and applicability dates, and then again, you'll see the full bill history down here. As you can see, there are links throughout. If you want to quickly get to the chamber debate, there's a link to the video right here for the House debate, a link to the video for the Senate debate. And again, there's journal references throughout. If you want to see the page of the journal that pertains to that action, you can click on that link. Again, the signed enrolled bill is here. That automatically pulls up when you look at the enrolled version, but if you wanted to pull up a printer-friendly PDF of it, you could do that here. Once it reaches enrolled status, there's an Acts chapter created. You can click on that to pull that up. And then there's also a summary of legislation that's created, and this is kind of like a Cliff's Notes for what the bill actually does without all the legal jargon. So it's a little more easier to understand for those of us that aren't bill drafters and lawyers. If you continue to scroll down, you also get all of the action and history for the related bills here. So all of these bills that are related, you'll also see if you continue to scroll all the information for those right on this page. Again, that opened up in a new tab, so I'm just going to go back to my other tab. If you want to print off the bill history, there's a little print icon right here. Easy to do so. As I continue to scroll, I'm going to see again more information on the bill. And again, this depends on the bill and the version that you've pulled up. If there is a NOBA, which is Notes on Bills and Amendments, or a fiscal note on a bill, you'll see that information here. If there is none, that panel simply won't appear. So this is specific based on what you're looking at. You'll also, as you scroll down, again see the track versions of the bill. We already talked about this a little bit in Bills and Rules Watch, how they all have that same 4-digit LSB number. And this is where previous versions and newer versions of the bill will be listed, depending on what you're looking at. Again, you have your floor managers here. You have the lobbyist declarations. Clicking on this will show you all of the lobbyists that have declared on this bill and the way that they did so. Again, you have your Acts chapter, your summary of legislation, and then there are various comparisons here. So if you want to see how the introduced version compares to the study bill, you want to see how the enrolled version compares to the reprinted version. Depending on what you've chosen up top, those will be listed here for you. There is a bill subject index. This just allows you to choose a subject and see all the bills pertaining to that subject. I'm not going to go over that. People don't really use that very often. Again, the videos are linked right here, so I can quickly launch the video where this bill was debated on both floors. You can enter in a keyword here, and it will search the bill and highlight every instance of the keyword within the bill for you. And then there's also this sections affected and tag topics. Sections affected, if there are any Iowa Code sections that are going to be affected by this bill, it will list those here. If there are none, it will say none. And then there's also all of these tag topics. So again, going back to that indexing taxonomy, if I want to pull up this bill was tagged with appropriations, if I want to see all bills that deal with appropriations, I would click on that tag topic. It would pull up all of the current bills relating to that topic. So that's Bill Book. Again, you have your print and your permanent links up here at the top. But basically, anytime you type in a bill number on our website, when you link to bills, this is the page that you're going to get. And then you can make your changes to what you want to view up here at the top in the upper pane. When you're done, you just hit clear. It goes back to showing you the home page, and you're able to choose categories if you wish. So that's Bill Book in a nutshell. Are there any questions on Bill Book before we move on?
What is lobbyist declaration?
Lobbyist declaration. So a lobbyist, they have a system that they sign into where they declare for or against the bill. And a lot of times legislators are interested in that. They want to see, okay, well, what did the lobbyists for Allegiance say about this bill? So that's what it will do. Good question. Back on the legislation tab, we have our clip sheets in both the Senate and House. This is something that the chamber staff creates every day. This is something that you can subscribe to receive via email. But basically what it does is shows everything that happened on a given day. So it'll show all of the bills and amendments, the text of the bills, etc. So if this is something that interests you, great. You can sign up to receive that via email as well. That will never be available until the following day. The clip sheet isn't done until after we've adjourned for the day, and then they work on the clip sheet. Bills and Rules Watch, another location for this tool. We've already talked about it. Daily legislation. This is the electronic bill packet. People used to print these off, and we put them on all the members' desks, and now we're trying to go green, so we've kept this information electronically. What this does is allows you to select a date here from the drop-down. I'm going to pick one kind of in the harder session here so you can see some info. And you'll be able to see, for example, all the bills filed on a given day, all the study bills filed on a given day, amendments filed, fiscal notes, NOBAs. All of these will be, again, linked. Clicking on the link will take you to the full text in Bill Book. Again, you can subscribe to receive this. You can click the little subscribe link here. If you want to see this in PDF and print it off, you can click that here. You can choose whatever date you want from the drop-down. And again, because there's that General Assembly picker, you can navigate back and see previous bill packets from previous years. Session Daily operates pretty similarly, but instead of showing you everything that was filed on a given day, this one shows you all the actions that happened on a given day. So again, I'm just going to pick a date in the middle of session here so we can see that. Let's try to pick a better one, get some more content here. So by default, it's going to show you all of these actions. All of these are checked. As you can see, as I scroll down, I can see all the bills voted out of the Senate, voted out of the House, voted out of committees. And again, just like on the committees page, I can narrow down my results. If I don't want to see something, I simply uncheck the box next to it, and the page adjusts accordingly for me, depending on what I've selected up here at the top. The directory of legislation is here. It's just a real quick cheat sheet. So maybe you come up and you say, I'm looking for this bill, and I know what it deals with, and I know it's Senate File 400 and something, but I'm not sure of the bill number, so I can't find it. What you can do is do what you know. So you know it's a Senate file. You know it's somewhere in the 400s. What this will do is just give you a short title of each one of these bills, and you can quickly look and see, okay, this is the one I was looking for, solar energy. Click the bill, and then you're taken into BillBook to get all that bill information. Back out here. That's your directory of legislation. Bill history, I already showed you where this is located in BillBook. This is just another way to get there. Clicking here allows you to select your legislation. It gives you the history of that study bill, or resolution. Bill subject index, again, this was also in BillBook, just a way to see all of the subjects for particular bills. It'll show the subject, and then it'll show all the bills pertaining to that subject. And it might take a while to load, so I'm not going to wait for it. Bill request logs. Legislators will use our bill management system to sign in and request bill drafts on behalf of themselves, on behalf of the committee, and they also sign in to approve or reject bill drafts. There's a place in there where they can mark it confidential or non-confidential. All non-confidential requests will display on the bill request log page. We're never, ever, ever, let me expressly point that out, going to put a draft that your legislator has not approved on our website. All we're going to show is some basic information about the request that we received from the legislator. So for example, Senator Whiting has requested 8 bills for the upcoming session. Click on their name. This is all the information that people are going to see. They're going to see the date that we received the request. If there's an LSB number assigned, that will be here. Once the bill number assigns, that will fill in and be linked. And then just the working title of the bill and the category that it was assigned to. So again, we're never going to put out the full text of a bill draft here until your legislator has approved it, it's read on the floor, and then it's introduced. But it just gives some brief information. If your legislator is fine with putting out the working title and the date received and getting a category, that's what we'll display here. Some legislators like to keep everything close to the chest. There's a setting in BMS where you can say confidential, and then it will not appear on this page until it's expressly approved and read in on the floor. But as you can see, there are lots of different bill requests. We get bill requests from legislators. We get them from the governor's office. Executive branch departments request bill drafts. Their deadline is either approaching or has already happened. People request bill drafts on behalf of committee, and then you can see them all regardless of request or by category. And again, this is only if they're marked non-confidential, and we're only going to show the working title when we received it, and then the bill number once it becomes assigned. Out here. That's the bill request log, codes and acts sections amended. This is going to show you the relationship that exists between the codes, the acts, and legislation. It just shows you the reference, the action, the bill or section that's affected, effective date, applicability date, when the governor signed it, and the governor's action here. Similars and companions, a lot of times 2 bills will be running with the same subject in both chambers, so they'll have a Senate version of the bill and a House version of the bill. Or they'll have a piece of legislation that relates to another piece of legislation. This shows that relationship here. And again, all those bill numbers are linked. Disposition of bills. This shows a listing of all bills and their last action. So if your legislator says, hey, whatever happened to Senate File 1? Well, the committee report was approving the bill. It was renumbered as Senate File 307. There's the journal reference, and there's the date that it happened. So now if I wanted to know about Senate File 1, I would check Senate File 307 because that's the bill that it became. And then lastly, this bill version tracking. I already showed you this in BillBook again. This would just allow you to select a bill or a resolution and then show you all different versions of the bill. Again, everything containing that same 4-digit LSB number. That's your bill tracking tool. The next one down is legislation. Very straightforward. You want to see all bills, you click all bills. You want to find amendments by bill number, you click amendments by bill number. The one I do point out is the floor votes on bills. Again, that's going to be like the one that you already saw on the home page. I find this one really handy where you can come in and select your date range in your chamber, see all the bills that were voted on, click the PDF to see how each person voted. And then there's also this passed by chamber, passed by either chamber. Your enrolled bills are here. And then you have, you know, if you want to see all the bills that were withdrawn or postponed or filed or signed by the governor, you can click on the appropriate link to do that. Senate and House journals, we already saw those on the Senate and House tab, just another place to find it on our website. LSA information, this shows the publications that Legislative Services Agency puts out both during session and after session. You can see all of those here. Click on those to view it. The Twitter feed is over on this page as well, so even if you don't subscribe to Twitter, you can see the Twitter feed here. Debate eligibility calendar, session rules, we've already seen those on the Senate and House tab, same thing, just another place and a way to get there. And then proposed legislation tracking, that's the Bills and Rules Watch application and subscriptions option again. So just another way to get to that. Committees and schedules, very straightforward. You want to see information about a committee, you simply click the linked committee name. It gives you all of the members of the committee. Again, clicking on the legislator's name will take you to their page on our website. Hovering over it will show you a color picture of that representative. For new people, this one may come in handy, the member photos. This gives you, again, nice printout of color photos, have faces to go with all the names. If you want to see all of the meetings for that particular committee, you can click there to do so. There's subcommittee assignments, click there to view those. To get the staff contact information for this committee, click that link. If there were former members on this committee, you can click on that, and it will show you any people who previously served in the committee. And then just like on the legislator page, you can see all the bills sponsored by the committee, bills that are currently in the committee, amendments sponsored by the committee, and then any study bills sponsored by the committee. So pretty straightforward. The ones you guys probably work with the most are the standing committees. There's also, of course, the probes committees, council committees. All of the committees are here, and then the public hearings are also on this page as well. Committee room maps, if you are in the Capitol, this gives you a nice little map that shows where the different committee rooms are located in the Capitol. And it does each page a different floor. So the first page shows the ground floor, first floor, and it just points out the committee rooms. But of course, if you don't know where to go, you can always ask someone, and someone will be happy to show you the way. But I just like that there. Schedule is going to take you to this same page that we already saw on our Senate and House tab. So again, just another way to get there. Meetings is going to take you here. Again, I'm not going to click on these. We saw these on the Senate and House tab. Not created yet. Once things start being created, you can links to view those. You have your council and interim committees here. Briefings on meetings, interim study committees. I'm not going to go over these. These aren't really for you guys. Like I said, the ones you care about are generally the standing committees and the subcommittees. Are there any questions on the legislation tab or the committees and schedules? No, right, not now. I gotcha. The next one over is Iowa law and rules. Not to spend a lot of time here. This is very self-explanatory. We do have some quick finds over here along the right. One for Iowa Code, one for Iowa Acts. You've seen those before, but there are two additional ones on this page where you can quick search the Iowa Administrative Code and quick search for rulemaking documents. Again, the Administrative Code is really related to rule writers and executive branch employees more than you guys. That being said, the tool is out here for your use if you want it. But if you want to see the Iowa Code, you click on the Iowa Code and you click on what you want to see. There's all of this Iowa Acts, past legislation, Constitution. Yeah, like I said, very self-explanatory. You just click on what you want to see. The administrative rules are here. You just click on the law that you want to see and then click on the one here to either search it or pull up the content that you want. Chamber rules are here again. There's executive orders. This is a fairly new page. This shows all of the executive orders from the last few governors. You can filter out a certain governor's executive orders by choosing their name from the drop-down here. I'm going to go ahead and go back to this page, sorry. Hyperlink and legal downloads, that's for the public. You guys won't mess with that. This is so you can order publications. You won't use that. Official and unofficial editions, document authentication, you guys won't do that. So I'm going to skip over that stuff because I know we're getting close and I got to finish up here. Legislative agencies. This shows the two central nonpartisan agencies in the legislature, LSA, which contains all of these subdivisions, computer services, legal, fiscal, etc., and then the Office of Ombudsman, which is the Citizens Aid Office. You can click on one of these to see more information about it, and then you can also click on the staff listing provided to get contact information for that staff. The Ombudsman will take you to the Ombudsman website where you can learn about what they do here. Personal financial disclosures, we've already seen those. Those are just scanned in copies, but these are for LSA employees. And then we have our Senate and House here. The Secretary of the Senate and the Chief Clerk's office look similar but not the same. It's just because they both wanted it organized slightly differently, and so we did it according to their specs. So the first one, Secretary of the Senate, gives Charlie Smithson's contact info, his phone number, his address, his email, and then they go ahead and post contacts for various information. So just like on the contact page, if you have a question about the Senate Journal, for example, here are the people to contact and their phone numbers. These forms are up here on the Senate page. If you need to fill out one of these forms, you'll be told to do so. This isn't something that you have to do unless you're asked to do so by chamber leadership. And then there's also all of these quick links down here along the left. Again, these are just for easy access. They're elsewhere on our site, but it's easier for people to call them to say, okay, instead of trying to navigate to the website, just say, go to our page, and over on the left, click on Chamber Rules. So frequently asked questions for them. The Chief Clerk's office looks very similar, slightly different. Again, you have the Chief Clerk, Megan Nelson's contact info up here. Any forms that you need to fill out will be told that you need to fill those out, but they're listed up here. And then all of the contacts for different questions that you may have and their contact info, and then some quick links over here as well. Senate Democrats, Senate Republicans, House Democrats, House Republicans. These will launch the caucus-maintained web pages. So again, because these are party affiliated, you get this message saying you're leaving our state-supported website. Clicking here will take you to the caucus website. And again, if you had questions or concerns about the caucus page, you'd want to talk to the caucus staff about these. But all of those, depending on your chamber and party and the link you click, will take you to the caucus webpage. Careers and RFPs, we already saw that down here in careers. Same thing, just another way to get to job openings at the LSA and the legislature. Publications. Again, we've already seen this on, I believe it was the legislation tab under LSA publications. All of the publications that LSA puts out both during and after session, you can click on these to view those. You can see the tweets again over here. If you want to view publications by category, you can choose the category. It will search all of the publications that are current for that category. And then legislative document research. This is the last handout that I've given you, and this is the search engine on our website. So this is where basically anytime you search anything on our website, it drops you into this tool. This is where you can access all of these information, all of these pieces of information, as well as archived information. By default, as you can see, the current only box is checked. It's going to pull up current information. That's just our way of trying to limit the amount of results that you get. And by default, exclude reserved is also checked. For those familiar, the Iowa Administrative Code, or those not familiar, those with the Iowa Code, there are certain sections that are, chapters that are reserved, and basically they're just placeholders. They have no content. The chapter literally says reserved. So we filter out those results thinking, why would you need to see that? There are instructional videos here. So again, I have several small videos that walk you through how to use this tool. Again, for the public, you can always direct constituents this way if they say they don't know how to use it. You can quickly pick on a category, again, just like you could in BillBook. And then there's a couple different ways you can search. The first is just typing in a word, hitting enter or go on your keyboard. By default, it will search everything. To narrow down your search results, let's say we're only interested in legislation dealing with safety, you can check the box in front of legislation, and now I'm only going to see those results. Just like we saw in Bills and Rules Watch for categories, and I'm sorry, it's kind of hard to see on the screen, there are little arrows in front of each one of these. And this indicates that I can narrow down my search further. So maybe within legislation, I'm only interested in last year, and within that, I'm only interested in enrolled bills, and within that, I'm only interested in House bills. You can see that just by drilling down and using those arrows to get to that information, I've limited my results considerably from 1,300 to now just 29. And then each one of the results will pull up over here on the right. You can click the bill to pull up the full text in Bill Book. When you click on one of these links, it will actually pull it up in HTML format, but you can pull it up in Bill Book this way. It does open up in a new tab, so you don't have to navigate away from your search results. If that's not the one you wanted, you just close the tab, come back here, click the next one. And it gives you all the information about the bills here. This gives you the different formats that you can pull the bill up in, or you can click on the link and click it there. It only gives you 10 results per page. You can adjust that here if you wish. This would navigate to the next 10 results and the last page. There is a link here. This one comes in handy if you want to show someone your search results, rather than having them come in and say, click in safety, and then click the box next to legislation, and click the box next to enrolled. You can just generate a link. You can copy and paste that and send it to someone, and then when they click the link, they're going to get this page with your search results, so you don't have to run the search again. You can hit print to print off your results if you wish. And then if you scroll down, there's some additional information in here. You can also refine by topic. So within those 29 bills I saw, here's all of the different topics. Maybe I'm only interested in the ones that deal with minors. I can refine by topic, and now I've limited my results to 3. The advanced search is a little different, but pretty much the same. This allows you to search by topic. Again, just like in Bills and Rules Watch, you choose a topic, you click search, it pulls up the results for you. In this case, it didn't find any because I didn't clear out my search first. But that's your advanced search. You can do it by topic. Again, if you don't select anything over along the left, it will search everything when you hit search. If you want to limit your results, you simply check the box in front of the one that you want to search, and it will just pull up those results. Some additional keyword search options here. All these words, none of these words, exact phrase words near each other. You can search the Iowa code that's affected by bill. You can search for bill and amendment sponsors. Authors, you probably won't use that. You probably won't use department, and you probably won't use budget unit. But some of our staff does, so all of these searches are accessible and usable for you. On the advanced search, current only is not checked by default, so it will pull up everything unless you elect to check the current only and the exclude reserved option here. And then you would just run your search, takes you back to the main page, and again, you can go through your search results. Topic, this does the exact same as the topic search on the advanced search tab. It just keeps you on the same page. So this one I can choose a topic, and I can see everything relating to that topic here. And it will break it down by type. So there's code sections, publications, administrative rule documents, etc. Search tools, the only reason I point this out is because that's where you can find the documentation. So again, if you need to pull this up or use it for whatever reason, there's always an updated copy right here. And then we have the disclaimer. But definitely recommend get used to using the search tool. It's very handy. You'll probably be prompted to use it whether you know it or not. If you use a lot of those quick finds or searches on our site, it's going to drop you in here anyway and try to tell you what results you need. And then the rest of these are just various publications we put out. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on them. There's legal topic publications, various fiscal publications. Oops, sorry, got some reminders popping up here. There we go. Other resources, just some miscellaneous publications, subscriptions, just like clicking subscribe, audio video presentations. Again, there's audio video content throughout. This is just of us putting it all in one location. So all of the videos that we have can be found on this page. Boards and commissions, departments and agencies, I'm not going to mess with those. And then there's Attorney General opinions, which is fairly new this year. Capitol tours and resources, this is where people can come in and sign up to tour the Capitol. There are 2 options now to tour the Capitol. You can sign up to get an in-person tour, and you can sign up to schedule an online tour now. There's also various pictorial tours and virtual tours where you can tour the Capitol, a whole bunch of different ways. The good thing is that when a tour from your legislator's district has been approved, if they are coming to the Capitol, it will shoot your legislator an email and alert them that say this school is coming to the Capitol on this day, so your legislator can be available to meet with them if they want. It'll come with a little calendar attachment. You can just accept it. It'll add that appointment right to your calendar. But these are all basically just resources for touring the Capitol. Educational publications, just some, again, educational information, how a bill becomes a law. There's a video and a report on that. Legislative terminology. Here's a link to the gift shop if you want to see what's for sale in the gift shop. So all the things relating to capital and education about the legislature can be found here. Lobbyist information. This is all the information pertaining to lobbyists. Search lobbyist declarations. I already showed you in Bill Book where you can see lobbyist declarations. This one is a little bit better, only if you're searching for multiple bills at once, or for a client, for example. So I can type in a lobbyist name, see all the declarations from that lobbyist. I can type in a client name, see all the client declarations that the lobbyist declares on behalf of the client, so that's the difference between the two. But this allows you to do multiple bill numbers at once. So if I want to see all the declarations on Senate Study Bill 1002 and all the declarations on Senate File 5, you can keep adding as many bills here as you want, hit submit, and it will just filter out the declarations for the bills that you've entered. And then you have the option to load all declarations here. We try to limit it, but when you scroll, it'll continue to fill those in. Like I said, you guys are usually interested in declarations as it pertains to a piece of legislation, so I usually use it in Bill Book, but this is another way you can do that. You can see the list of lobbyists here. Lobbyists are registering. They just started registering for the upcoming session on December 1. So these are all of the lobbyists that have registered so far. This list will grow in real time, so as more people register, there'll be more lobbyists on this page. And the same goes for clients. These are the clients are the people that hire the lobbyists and their corporations, something like this. When you are internal, you'll be able to see email addresses and pictures for lobbyists. When you are external, you will not. That is by design. The lobbyists have no problem sharing their cell phone with legislators, but they don't want to put it out on a public-facing website, and I can't say I blame them. So you'll be able to see that information here. Client reports, they have to fill out, again, financial information. This is where you can see those. They have to fill out reports for expenditures if they have a function at the Capitol. This is where you can pull those up if you're interested. And then there's government lobbyist authorizations required by the House. All the laws pertaining to lobbying in Iowa can be found here. One of the big ones is the gift law, what you can accept and not accept from a lobbyist. And then there's various changes here to lobbying law. The last one is lobbyist online filing. This is for the lobbyists. So this is where they sign in, they make those declarations, they file those reports, and that's where all that information on our website comes from. So unless you're a lobbyist, you won't be on this page. Lastly, there's archives. I've already showed you throughout our website how every time there's that General Assembly or year picker, you can navigate back in time. We used to have an archive page that looked similar to this that staff got used to using, so we just kept it, but it functions exactly the same. So you want to see, for example, chamber rules. It takes you to the chamber rule page, and again, you would just use that drop down to go back in time. So I don't spend a lot of time on the archives. I just use the drop down on the pages, but that's another option if you want to use it. Everything I've just shown you is accessible to everyone in the public. We're going to finish up with the intranet, which is only visible to internal staff. Are there any questions that you can think of? No. Okay, moving on. Intranet. As I mentioned, this is for internal staff only. You'll only see that link when you're at the Capitol or using Citrix or VPN from outside the Capitol. The legislative homepage, this will take you to the public-facing website. The intranet homepage is this page here. CSD staff, this talks about, just gives the contact information for all computer services division, myself included. Whoops, sorry, navigated back too far. And then chamber support. This gives contact information for all of the support people that are going to be in the copy center this year. And it just talks about what I've already explained about how we'll be in there. So the time you gavel in, the time you gavel out, gives you the help desk phone number, also gives the office phones of all the people that are supporting area. And then I'm just going to skip through ones I think are useful. Document compare, not really. Access my listserv, very few people use listserv anymore, you won't use it. Legislative document research, we've already talked about. But the one I want to point out is the phone book. This is another great place you can come to get contact information for someone. If you know their last name, maybe you're looking for me, you can enter in the last name. It'll give you all of my information, my email address, my office location, and my phone number. Clicking on our name will show you a color picture of that person. And then you can also do the same for non-legislative state employees. So if you know someone from the executive branch or judicial branch, you can use this search for their contact information as well. And then you have all of these other phone books There's the departmental listing for Iowa government, U of I, UNI, ISU phone books, House Office, and House Centrics. These were also seen on the directory and the site map, just another place of finding it. Go back to the intranet homepage. Search lobbyist database, again, we already looked at this on the lobbyist page. Internally, like I said, you can see that additional information like emails and pictures. Externally, you wouldn't see that. The amendment list is one I want to point out. Unfortunately, I can't do anything with it because I know that they're playing around with it right now. What you'll do is you'll sign in, and for those of you that have been here before know that towards the end of session, they just start tacking amendments on bills. And so it's not uncommon to have a bill with 100 amendments on it. It can be very tedious to go through and try to see which amendments that we've debated and which we haven't. They don't debate them in amendment order. They debate them in order of where they make changes to the bill. So if Amendment 10 is changing page 1 of the bill and Amendment 1 is changing page 10 of the bill, you would debate 10 before 1. So what you can do with this tool is type in a bill number and it will put the amendments in debate order. So you'll be able to see very quickly which amendments we've done, which we haven't done. And the other good thing about the electronic version is as amendments are introduced on the fly towards the end of session, you can just hit refresh and the new amendments will pop in the right locations when they will be debated. It's not 100% because a lot of times you have several amendments amending the same page and line, but it does get you pretty close and it is a handy tool. Bill requests, this is where you sign into the bill management system. Again, depending on your legislator, that may be something you do, it may be something you never do, but that's where you sign in. You can also do it under applications. Bill request form, this is just a PDF copy that they can print out, fill out, and turn in. And then there is one for additional sponsors and amendment requests as well. Same thing, they would print it off, fill it out, turn it in. Suffix codes, unless you're a drafter, you don't really care about those, so I'm going to skip over that. House forms, again, we have House forms and not Senate forms. The House wanted them, the Senate did not, so we went ahead and posted them out here. And again, if this is something that you need to fill out, chamber staff will make you aware of that. But these are just PDF forms that you can fill out. For example, if a legislator missed a vote, there's a form they can fill out, and most of these have instructions right on them. So it says directions, hover over and fill out, and then it tells you who to turn these forms into. Again, that's not something you need to fill out. Someone will let you know if you need to fill those out. Legislative Information Office, there's a nice video tour of the Legislative Information Office, which is the tour guides and the gift shop. Information on those here. Not going to go over that. Committee staffing assignments, again, you can already see that on the committee page or on the legislative directory page, but this is another place to access it. And then you have several different options for the seating charts again. A lot of different options here. Again, seats haven't been chosen yet, so these haven't been updated, but I prefer the photo ones. These give you nice color photos and show you everyone in the chamber with their last name, seat number, and color photo. There are also ones with the secretary names on them as well. So once those seats are chosen, generally the second day of session or the third day of session, these will be updated for the new GA. Committee information, this gives various committee information. Again, the reason it's on the intranet is because we didn't used to share committee votes. We are making those more transparent now, so that may be going away soon. It's not a whole lot better than the one on the public-facing side. Committee secretary forums, that is a training that we host for chair, vice chair, and ranking member clerks. And I know the House, we're going to have it the next 2 afternoons. I did one yesterday. For the Senate, I believe it is going to be the Wednesday of the first week of session. If you need to be there, chamber staff will make sure that you are there, and we'll talk about that application at that time. Subscribe to draft minutes. As I mentioned, I showed you before on the subscribe page where you can subscribe to committees. Everyone can do that. Only internal staff can subscribe to the draft minutes. As I said, the committee meets, the secretary fills in the minutes, they publish a draft. The draft minutes go around to internal staff and committee members, but they're not the approved minutes. They don't approve the minutes until the following meeting. So once those minutes are approved, they go back in and mark them approved, and at that point it's shared on the website and shared to the public. So again, you're already going to get the draft minutes for all the committees that your legislator is on. This is if you wanted to subscribe to other committees that your legislator is not a member of and get those draft minutes. We have our governor appointments. The governor's office just got some questions that they wanted us to post out here, some frequently asked questions, so we posted them. The law library did the same, so just some educational information about the law library. All the personnel information is mostly for year-round staff at LSA, so you don't have to mess with those. But the computer services information I did want to point out. The chamber info, that's the same as clicking chamber support, just gives you our contact info and talks about when we're there. But computer documentation, all of the pieces of documentation that I hand out at training are here. And anytime I create new, I will post them out here. Anytime I update them, I will post them out here. So all of these are out here for your use. If you missed a training, you can still access all of the documentation right here. The training schedule, you guys obviously got this because you're here, but this is where I post upcoming trainings. I used to have some training during session. I'm not confident that's going to happen this year just because of the limited gathering rule and the fact that I may not be able to get a room for that reason. So if there is an upcoming training, you can find it here. I will also send out an email if that is the case. I will try to alert as many people as I can. Like I said, I'm not hopeful I will be able to do it this session, but it's a possibility, and if that happens, I will alert everyone and let you guys know. User account request, you won't use that one. Down here at the bottom, Capitol Complex. They used to do, for internal staff, the dome tour, which is really cool. I don't know if they're still going to do that with COVID, but there is information here about that and gives you the contact information so you can talk to someone. The general public can't go up in the dome anymore, but internal staff can. It's a really cool tour. I definitely recommend it. If you go on the tour, though, I definitely recommend you wear comfortable shoes. You're going to go up about 1,000 stairs. So don't wear high heels. Parking map, parking rules, they're going to go over all of that with you at clerk orientation. So that's not something you need to read. This is basically just going to open up and show you the code section that relates to parking at the Capitol. Lastly, the tunnel map. For those of you that don't know, and I didn't before I started working here, there is an underground tunnel that connects all of the buildings in the Capitol complex. If you hit basement in any elevator in any of these buildings, it takes you down to tunnel level. Do you need to print this map off and take it with you? No. There are signs in the tunnel that give you arrows this way to the Capitol, this way to Miller, etc. But it just reminds me to mention it. If you go down in the tunnel, make sure you bring your badge. There is a place where you can scan your badge. Some buildings will not let you in without your badge access. The Capitol you can get into from the tunnel, but you have to go through security. If you bring your badge, you can beep in and you don't have to go through security and the metal detectors, which is really nice. So that's open to internal staff. Some of the elevators, you may also need your badge to be able to get to basement level. So if you're in an elevator, you click the basement button, nothing happens. Scan your badge first, then click basement. It'll allow you to go down there. It's not very pretty. It kind of smells. It gets flooded. But I tell you what, it does beat walking in snow and rain. And I take it every day, so it's not that bad, I promise. But yeah, it just reminds me to mention that, like I said, if you have to park somewhere else in the Capitol complex, it's just good to know that you can go to the basement and walk to the Capitol downstairs in not the rain and snow and not the cold. Whew. Okay, clear as mud, right? Like I said, I don't expect you to leave here and remember everything I've taught you. That would be impossible. I train this all the time, and that is why I know what I know. So I just want you to know that all of this information is out here. It's accessible for your use. If you need help navigating the website or finding something, don't hesitate to come find us at the help desk. We're happy to help. Again, there's clerks that have been here. If you turn to your neighbor clerk, everybody's very nice about helping everyone else, so you'll be able to get where you need to go. We haven't lost a clerk or a legislator yet. You will be just fine, I promise you. I know it is very overwhelming at the start with all of the papers and all the procedures you're trying to get a handle on. But if you need help, that's what we're here for. So don't hesitate to ask. Are there any questions you could think of?
When you mention different times, print something out, where do we go to pick that up?
To printers?
Yes.
Great question. There are 4 printers in each chamber. So in the House, they're called red, blue, green, and yellow. In the Senate, they're called East 1, West 1, East 2, and West 2.
Just tell me the House.
Yes.
Red, blue, green, and blue.
Red, blue, green, and yellow. And they all have labels on them. So what you'll want to do when you pick your seat is look and see what printer's closest to you, set that as your default printer, and then that's where you'll go. Good question.
Another one. When
Mhm.
you mentioned tours, I was reading somewhere the Capitol is open Friday and Saturday.
Mhm.
So we could bring constituents or people in with our badge, we can.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not as familiar with that process, so I don't want to tell you incorrectly. I would talk to the chief clerk, and she will be happy to tell you that information, or Michelle in the chief clerk's office. She can fill you in on all that stuff. I don't know if anything's changed with COVID that I'm not privy to, so I don't want to tell you wrong. Good question. Any other questions? Any of my virtual peeps got any questions? Nope. All right, well, that's all I have for you. Thank you all for attending, and we'll see you soon. Have a great day.